5 FM. I'm Jason Minix, and man, am I glad to be at work. I got to tell you, most of you guys want to cut out early on a Friday afternoon, unless you got a house full of people. You know, my niece is graduating nursing school tomorrow, and so both of my wife's sisters flew in yesterday, brother-in-law, a couple of nephews, a couple more, including my daughter, showing up today. But I think I got like 11 people at the house. And it's not like anybody wanted to get a hotel room. You know, I woke up, I got a nephew that's 6'6" trying to sleep on my couch. That was comical. And that dude eats more than James Pledger. I bought 5 pounds of I bought 5 pounds of fajita yesterday over at Tri-County Meat Market. Got home last night, got it ready, and I think Zach put away like 7 by himself, and he doesn't make fajitas like we do. The amount of it's all gone. I was like, man, this is gonna be good to breakfast tomorrow. Nope, gone. And it's herding cats when you get people in town, and you get 2 older sisters that are in charge. I'm glad to be at work. It's crazy at my house. It is crazy, although I'm excited that my kiddo's coming home today. But we got a lot going on today. And I see Clayton Garcia saying Spurs are going 2-0 today. Enjoy that win over Orlando. Enjoy the win over Orlando. Tonight, the Spurs are going to get a pretty good test of what the season might be like. Today and tomorrow, with Milwaukee coming to town for tomorrow. Denver tonight, it's going to be tough. I'm curious to see what transfers from the Orlando game to the Denver game, because the Orlando matchup was one of the few this year that I think the Spurs are going to have the better athletes all the way around on the court, and it showed in that win over Orlando. But they're not going 82-0, and they're not going to go 2-0. I'd be stunned if they get this win tonight. Did you see what Denver did to Phoenix in their opener? It's going to be an interesting night for the San Antonio Spurs. We will talk about it for sure as we continue here on this Friday edition of the Blitz. Although it's a weird football Friday in the sense of, it's a football weekend, but no Cowboys and Longhorns, so that's kind of strange. You do have the Spurs and Nuggets playing tonight. You have Astros Red Sox game 6 tonight. And I so hope the Astros close it out tonight. The stress of a game 7 obviously is one thing, but with the Dodgers winning last night, that does keep our hopes of the World Series that we've talked about all year in play, but also could help the Astros and that pitching staff get a little rest if, say that series gets extended and the Astros close things out tonight. Get those boys some rest, because they certainly needed some of those arms. But you have that tonight. But the World Series that we want still in live after dude hit 3 home runs last night for the Dodgers. And again, I don't know what it is about the Dodgers and being down 3-1. I think that's when they really play their best baseball, which is kind of scary. Although, does Braves Astros do it for you? It doesn't matter. I mean, I think about the Braves and, that stretch, although they only won 1 World Series there. I mean, for so long, they were the team. And growing up, everybody was somewhat of a fan of either the Braves or Cubs because of TBS and WGN back in the day. So, I mean, you look at it and you sit there and you go, yeah, man, I think Braves would be fun. I wonder if it's in the San Antonio Sports Star budget to go to our shows at the Battery in Atlanta. Although it'd be like doing a show from Vegas. But that place, if you're ever in Atlanta, go watch games there. That place is incredible. And it'd be a lot of fun. It is an interesting football weekend. Again, you got a gazillion teams on buys, and that's screwing with everybody's fantasy teams. Cowboys aren't playing. Texans, what are they, a 20-point dog now to Arizona? I think the line is 17.5. And those numbers always scare me because I do think Arizona's got a good chance of covering that, except for maybe a junk touchdown late that could screw things up, or they're going to get beat by 35 without Cliff Kingsbury. It looks like Cliff is going to miss his 2nd game in a row dealing with COVID, trying to get those 2 positive or negative tests within a 24-hour period. He's got to get through that. Anything without that, is good as Kyler Murray is playing, as good as that that Arizona Cardinals team actually is. And I know John McClain yesterday said it's not really a revenge game. It is. You know, J.J. Watt is going to be looking to put on a show. He's got a lot of friends and family watching, and he wants to put on a show because there were the whispers that maybe J.J. was past his prime, and he's healthy, and he is playing like J.J. Watt, Hopkins. And I know O'Brien's gone, everybody there gone. Hopkins, he sees that Texans bowl, and he sees red. You know he's going to have a big game to us coming up on Sunday. UTSA Roadrunners, it's fun when you look at the top 25 schedule and you see UTSA in there at number 24. This is going to be a tough game for UTSA. This is the game that I think we're really going to find out about the whole eating the cheese when it comes to Jeff Traylor. You look at this week. You know, they're undefeated. They get ranked. They move up in conferences officially. They're going to go and move to the American. This is the week of all weeks that we've had so far when it comes to UTSA football. This is the week that Jeff Traylor's got to make sure his guys are dialed in and focused, that they can't just show up and go win a football game. And I hope that he puts on tape from, I don't know, that Wednesday night game with Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State. I've never seen a field rush on a Wednesday, but why not? Let's go do it. Rush the field. But this is the week because it's a tough game, a tough place for anybody to go play in Ruston, Louisiana. But UTSA hasn't had success there historically, although this UTSA team isn't like any other. But this is the week that Jeff Traylor's got to make sure not only is he dialed in, but also is his team dialed in. This is going to be a tough test for UTSA. Pledge the NBA Top 75 has been announced. And with that comes the automatic snubs. Klay Thompson woke up this morning, took to social media that he's still mad that he's not on the list. I didn't see a tweet from Manu saying he's pissed off that he's not on the list, but I think Manu deserves to be on that list. But hell, I'm biased. It was nice to see a handful of people on ESPN.com, the national NBA types, mention Manu as a snub on that list. But is it really all they did was take the top 50 and add 25 names, but actually 26 because the committee had a tie. You're on a committee. How the hell do you have a tie? So Manu maybe is 77, maybe 81. Who knows? And if he doesn't make top 75, he's not going to make the top 100 when you look at a lot of players that are playing now. I mean, Luka up in Dallas is going to be on the next list. And I do appreciate the committee. And when you're on a committee like that, it sucks. I mean, it really does. That is such a hard job when you're on a committee like that, trying to determine anything. Whether you're selecting an all-star team or the top 75 players of all time. And again, if you made the top 50, you have to make the top 75. That's like in the rule book because it's not like you got any worse, right? So, you know, you're looking at 25 new players, but also you're going to create debate. Should Dame Lillard be on the list? I mean, what was their criteria in determining it? I mean, I look at the list and go, I don't see anybody on there for me that I say, there's no way in hell that guy should not be on that list. Now, could you make an argument for this guy or that guy over him? Sure. And you know the committee did, and they make the list. Tony Parker. See, I would go with Manu over Tony Parker. But keep in mind, Manu will be a first ballot Hall of Famer because of his international resume. Manu Ginobili would make the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame on his international resume alone, let alone helping the San Antonio Spurs win 4 NBA titles. Manu and Tony snubbed because I'll definitely say Manu. I don't know about Tony. And that's been the story for Tony Parker seemingly his entire career. Pledge, who would you take off that list? I heard you and Jimenez talking about this earlier today on halftime. Had me screaming at my radio. But the reality is, who do you take off the list to put a guy like Manu on? But are there other guys ahead of Manu that are on that snub list as well? I mean, the people that are freaking out about Dwight Howard, they're high. But but Manu, I think should be a shoo-in to be on that list.
Yeah, over even Manu and Dame Lillard, I would think Dikembe Mutombo should be on that list.
No.
Mr. Defense, he was fantastic, led the Nuggets to the brink of the championship, got them to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, he did a lot, and for a lot of different teams throughout his NBA career.
He did, and I just remember, weren't they like an 8 seed and knocked off the top seeded Seattle Sonics?
They were
back in the day. Dikembe is on, and again, you look at a list like this. While it is there to honor 75, it is also there to create so much debate. I mean, the fact that you've got guys in the Hall of Fame that did not make the list. You can't put everybody on there. And it's interesting how they did it, how they released it. I mean, I look at Tim Duncan is on it. David Robinson is on it. The Iceman, George Gervin, is on it. In a situation like this, do we claim Kawhi? I mean,
absolutely.
So can we say 4 Spurs make the list out of the top 75 of all time?
Yes.
It's a pretty good percentage. It's the only time you're going to claim Kawhi is when it benefits you. That he's on that list mainly because of what he did while with the San Antonio Spurs. Although, should he even be on the list? I mean, his last couple of years haven't exactly been spectacular basketball when it comes to consistency. I mean, should he be? I mean, he's an incredible player. I'm not taking anything away from that dude's game, but you got to be able to stay healthy. And longevity is such a big part of this. What do you guys think? 210-656-ESPN. 656-3776 on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines. You can get us on Twitter. Tweet at me at Jason Minix. You can tweet at James Pledger. He is on Twitter at I am Pledger. Pledge, do you think Kawhi should actually be on the list?
The fact that I have to think about it says no.
I'm kind of with you. And again, I look at what that guy's done, but what he has done since. It's that 2-part. The longevity part is factoring in, but the injuries, the load management, I'm going to run away and hide, which is in a lot of ways started a movement in the NBA that the NBA now has to try to rein in. How much power do the players have? Typically speaking, I'm all for the players having power. I don't get on here and get mad at players that are holding out for bigger contracts because, that's part of the game. And the loyalty really is generally one way when it comes to sports. And when the team is done with you, they move on. NBA players have guaranteed contracts. And I'm a big fan, though, if you put your name on a contract, you need to honor that contract. Now, you force your way out of a situation, you do it in a way that kind of works for both. You don't do what Anthony Davis did. You don't do what Kawhi Leonard did. And you sure as hell don't do what Ben Simmons is doing now. Now, Daryl Morey goes on the radio there in Philadelphia and says, man, we'll play this dance for 4 years if we have to, because this is what we are going to get in return, or he's not going to play. We're not going to reward Ben Simmons for what he's going through right now and just give him a new contract. That's not what Philadelphia plans to do. They want to get max value if they're going to lose a player like Ben Simmons. But Ben Simmons today, after everything that we know, Ben Simmons today says he's not mentally ready to play. And you hear that, Pledge. And you just want to be mad at Ben Simmons. It feels like this country, especially when it comes to athletes in this country, have made such great strides in mental health awareness and understanding that mental health is real and that it's okay to ask for help. We've seen a number of athletes talk about mental health and issues that they're having, depression, anxiety. And Ben Simmons, when you're not getting your way, when you show up to practice and you're a distraction because you don't want to be there, then you say, my back is tight, and the doctors look at you, give you a little bit of treatment, but say, no, you're good. And then you get sent home again, and you get sent home again, and you don't want to lose money, which is the reason why you came back to practice anyway. You were tired of losing money. Then you're going to drop the I'm not mentally prepared to play card because, quite frankly, they treat that like an injury, as they should, and he would still get played until he could get mentally in the right space to come back. If he would have said that months ago, after the playoffs last year with whatever he was doing, there was times where we said, the guy was afraid to shoot. It was in his head. If he would have said something like that then, I think the perception of Ben Simmons right now might be completely different. But he didn't. The route that he is taking just seems so wrong on so many levels that whoever's advising him and those athletes out there that are truly promoting mental health and encouraging people that need help to go get help should be so mad at Ben Simmons because this hurts. This hurts all the work that they're trying to do. And if you're Philadelphia, what can you say? What can you say? What can Philadelphia do now if he's going to say, I need time away from the team to work on my mental health? After everything that's gone through, it's written out. Everything that he has said, don't want to ever play for you again, never going to play for you again. It's like he is trying to play every option that he has, and this was the final one. Now that card is on the table, and it just feels dirty. It feels wrong. It's ugly. It's icky. I don't know, though, what the NBA or what the Philadelphia 76ers can do. What would you guys do? 656 ESPN, 656-3776 on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. Pledge, I've lost video. I'm trying to get my video back up. But
no worries.
What do you do if you're Philadelphia right now with Ben Simmons?
I don't think there's much you can do except keep putting him through, like, every card he's trying to play, you've just matched it, and you've found out the money is the most important thing to him in this whole situation. So now he's trying to do everything he can do to make sure that he doesn't lose that money. And you're right. If I'm Kevin Love, if I'm DeMar DeRozan, if I'm Kyle Lowry, who have been advocates for mental health in the NBA so far to this point, I would be all over Ben Simmons because you're right. And it's kind of a joke that wrote itself, but he didn't look like he was mentally ready to play in Game 7 against the Hawks in the playoffs.
Well, and you look at it, I think all of us take mental health more serious today than 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, especially when it comes to strong male athletes, right? The younger generation. There is some level of truth, I do believe, that he's not mentally ready to play right now. And trying to be delicate with how you say that and handle that, I think the reality is you look at what he is doing right now. Yeah, with everything that he has caused by his actions, I'm sure it's had a negative impact on him mentally. But that is so different than what all these other guys have been fighting for. And there is a difference there because all the issues that he has right now that he's dealing with mentally, he's brought on himself. And it's almost like, all right, stay away from the team. We're not going to mess with your money. You're going to ultimately get what you want. it just seems wrong. It just seems dirty that's the reason now that he's not going to be a part of the Sixers organization. I do appreciate by all the reports that he did go in and talk to his teammates, talk to his coach. I don't know how those conversations go. I saw one of the Sixers players say, the locker room is a sacred place. What we talked about in there is our business. But in reality, if you're Doc Rivers right now, if you're that Sixers team, especially based on comments we've already heard from players like Joel Embiid, who said earlier this week, I don't care about that man, isn't it better for him to be away from the team anyway? Isn't it better for him, for the future of this basketball team, for this season, for him to be away right now and not be that kind of distraction?
Probably for him, yeah, it's probably better for him to be away from an environment that's probably not going to be conducive to accepting of him. But for the Philadelphia 76ers as an organization, it's best he's there, because once he's on the court, that can only help them in what they all want to get accomplished, which is to move him. Daryl Morey is trying to accumulate assets that he believes what Ben Simmons is worth. And when playing at his best, it's hard to argue against Daryl Morey wanting that type of compensation in return. But it's hard to get that when the burned impression in everybody's mind right now is him refusing to take a shot in the NBA playoffs and now going through all this drama. The only way to elevate that value again is for him to prove that he is still that guy on a basketball court.
Pledge, I think that's a great argument if you're sitting at a bar like at the Rue Pub talking with your friends about value. But I got to believe that NBA coaches, NBA general managers, all the different front office types know exactly what they're getting with Ben Simmons outside of the very poor 2 weeks in the playoffs a year ago. He's got a body of work, plenty of film. These guys have all been around him in some form or fashion, either coaching against him, getting to know him at various events. I mean, the relationships go far deeper than what we all watched on our TV going, look at this guy. And they've got longer memories. There's a coach somewhere that, at one point was working here and he was there, and now this coach is there and he thinks, hey, that inner circle of the NBA is certainly there. And I do think that's going to be in play when it comes to when he lands a new home. So I understand where Daryl Morey's at. There is not going to be a fire sale. They're not going to sell him overly cheap. They want a star player in return, which you look at the offers that we've heard that have involved the San Antonio Spurs, that he doesn't want, say, a Lonnie and a DeJounte. He wants a Dame Lillard from Portland. He wants a superstar in return for a superstar. And that's what he's holding out for. But I don't know that his overall value has been hurt by these antics. Just like Kawhi Leonard's value was not hurt when he went to Toronto and then ended up in L.A. The Spurs got as much as they could for him. They got the best deal they could for him at the time. You look at the situation with Anthony Davis. I mean, these guys, they have a playbook that they're going. I mean, you go back to what was it? Anthony Davis showed up at the press conference wearing a T-shirt that said, "That's all, folks." I mean, it was all clearly by design. There was that playbook there. I think what you're seeing the NBA do now, led by Daryl Morey, is trying to take away some of the power of the players that can sign a contract, have 4 years left on a contract, and then trying to force their way out. Because these teams made the commitment. They signed those long-term contracts. You're a man. You signed it. You need to live out that contract, or at least participate in figuring out how that contract can change. You can get what you want out of a situation, but the team's got to get something in return. You just can't go pout, say you're never coming back, and expect the Sixers to take a discounted trade offer. Every other general manager, well, they're doing the same thing. They want the best for their team. I'm trying to pay less. It's the housing market, right? There are times when you see a house might be listed for X, you might lowball the offer. Or in today's housing market, you better go 20, 30 grand over if you really want to get that house. where are you buying right now? Everybody wants to buy low. They want to see how low they can get Daryl Morey. How low or how uncomfortable can Daryl Morey get as the general manager before he pulls a trigger on a deal? That's what they're going through right now. But I do think it's Daryl Morey in the NBA, the ownership side, trying to say, we can't have this, because if we can, what is the hell point of having a contract if you can demand a trade and get your wish with 4 years left on a deal? I mean, not that Daryl Morey really wants this to drag on for 4 more years, but I appreciate the stance that he's taking is, dude, it's not 2 years left on a deal. It's not 1 year left on a deal. The ink's barely dry on this deal. You've got 4 years left. I'm not giving you up for nothing. Be a man. You signed a contract. Be a man of your word.
And the flip side of that, though, is I do believe that GMs could and should have at least concern about where he is, because if we're talking about mentally where he's at, mentally, Markelle Fultz's jumper got broke from being the number 1 overall pick to most people aren't even sure if he's even in the league anymore. You look at Chuck Knobloch, a throw he's made since Little League could no longer throw from second base to first to record an out. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that somebody just gets so mentally broken that that's just not there anymore and they can't overcome it.
I agree with that. And if he would have said that in the summer, I'd buy that a lot more than I am today, after it looked like he was out of options and was tired of losing money, showed up because he was tired of losing money, tired of getting fined, and then didn't even want to participate while he was there, acted like he didn't care, was at the facility and left. I mean, all of that, none of that says, you know what, something just clicked in his head and he can't get over the mental hurdles. I mean, you know, if all of a sudden his agent comes out and says, man, he's been seeing a psychologist all summer, this is something he's been working through, we've been trying to keep it private, maybe. But today, man, I'm not buying it, and I'm mad at you, Ben Simmons, because a lot of people have made great strides in the area of mental health awareness, and today it feels like you're just pooping all over it to try to get your way. It just seems like a convenient excuse for Ben Simmons, and I'm not a fan of that. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM here on a Football Friday. We'll talk some Cowboys in about an hour with Jon Machota from The Athletic. The Aggies have a game tomorrow against South Carolina. The voice of the Texas A&M Aggies joins us at 5 o'clock, Andrew Monaco. But Jerry Jones, it's a bye week, but he's still talking. We will talk about what Jerry had to say coming up here on the Blitz. And, you know, it's kind of one of those interesting fantasy weekends with so many teams on buys and all the injuries. That's why you need to be playing fantasy on Underdog Fantasy. It is the best new place to play fantasy sports online. UnderdogFantasy.com. You can play on the website or go download their mobile app. It's incredible. If you're not doing it, sign up today. Use promo code RADIO to make your first deposit to receive a free $25 in bonus cash. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Register with promo code RADIO to get $25 cash for free with your first deposit. Download the app today. Start playing today. Just use promo code RADIO when you sign up. Terms and conditions apply. They have so many different fun games you can play, including the NFL Pick'em format. Pick any 2 to 5 player props, parlay them together, and you could win up to 20 times on your entry in one night. The over-under, obvious. Pick whether a player is going to go over or under a given stat line in a game. They've got the rivals. They've got so much more. Go download the mobile app or play online, UnderdogFantasy.com. Let's get a Sports Center update from James Pledger. Pledge.
Thanks a lot, Jason. In the NFL, the Houston Texans head to the desert this weekend as they take on the Arizona Cardinals, and former Texans DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt. Kickoff set for 3:25 Sunday afternoon. Speaking of the Texans, they signed center Jimmy Morrissey, a 305-pound product out of Pittsburgh. He was the Raiders' 7th-round draft pick this year. In college football, the 24th-ranked UTSA Roadrunners will hit the road as the undefeated Roadrunners will face off against 2-4 Louisiana Tech with kickoff from Ruston, Louisiana, set for 6. The 17th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies welcome South Carolina into College Station tomorrow. Kickoff from Kyle Field set for 6:30. And remember, you can catch that game over on our brother station, 550 KTSA and FM 1071. It all starts at 5:30 with the pregame. The Texas Tech Red Bears welcome Kansas State into Lubbock for an 11 o'clock kick tomorrow morning, while the Incarnate Word Cardinals, who have won 5 straight, hit the road to take on McNeese State tomorrow at noon. Undefeated Trinity hits the road as well as they take on Sewanee tomorrow afternoon at 1. Finally, in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs are 1-0 as they return to action for their first road game of the season as they take on the 1-0 Denver Nuggets. Tip-off for tonight's game set for 8. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
According to TxDOT, on average, one motorcyclist dies every day on Texas roads. If you or a loved one were injured in a motorcycle crash, call Thomas J. Henry. To learn more or start your claim today, visit tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
What are you guys doing tomorrow? You need to go over to Barbecue Outfitters. They're at 1604 at Chavano Park next to the Ridge Shopping Center. Because they're at Barbecue Outfitters, they're having their fall demo day. They're going to have a dozen different manufacturers demonstrating in the parking lot. So a great chance to see all those great grills in action. Obviously, you're going to get to taste some great food as well. Barbecue Outfitters is your homegrown Central Texas-owned grill, patio, and fireplace shop, and they are kicking off their gas log and fall grilling kickoff sale. It's tomorrow. All gas logs on sale. Only Texas-made gas logs from Golden Blunt, the finest gas logs made in America. They're going to be there on sale. Wood-burning fire pits are also on sale that are made right here in Texas. And, of course, it's Barbecue Outfitters. They can't have a sale without having Big Green Eggs, Weber gas grills, and Traeger pellet grills on sale. In fact, all their grill brands are on sale with double in-store rebates and free assembly. And, of course, the fall demo day happening tomorrow, which is always a lot of fun. That's where I fell in love with Traeger, eating right off of that thing at a demo day. Barbecue Outfitters has been serving the Central Texas region as a great local business that began right here 23 years ago. Get out and see them this weekend. 1604 at Chavano Park next to the Ridge Shopping Center, or go check out their website, bbqoutfitters.com.
Fever is the leading symptom of COVID and the flu, and the only way to reliably detect fever is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temporal Scanner, proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Be sure to seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Dig a trench, gravel the driveway, remove a tree stump. To tackle the big jobs, you need the power of Kubota. At Ewald Kubota, we have the tractors and construction equipment to get it done fast and get it done right. You've come to rely on the quality and dependability of Kubota compact tractors and implements, and at Ewald Kubota, rental equipment is available at all of our locations. Right now, all new rental customers get 10% off their first rental. For a store near you, visit ewaldkubota.com.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Still looking for that one special voice that makes you fall in love with podcasts? The One is out there and free on Spotify. With over 2 million shows and today's most talked about podcasts, Spotify is the best place to find that one special show that makes you laugh, keeps you interested, and keeps you listening for more. Whatever you're into, get way more into it with a podcast. Find the one you've been listening for right now, free on Spotify.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Great news, Slackers! Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar is now opening at noon 7 days a week at all 4 area locations. North Star, St. Mary's, Slackadochis, and the Medical Center. Slackers is the home for 7-day-a-week happy hour, now starting at noon every day. And by popular demand, Slackers brings back the signature frozen drinks. Bring a date, bring a crew, or come on down solo. Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar serves you up all your favorites and quenches your thirst 7 days a week, starting every day at noon. Visit slackersbarssa.com for more info.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Feeding on the blood of San Antonio sports fan. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
That one was kind of spooky. Big voice man. Clearly getting ready for Halloween. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on this Football Friday. Over here at Comalander Stadium, my internet has gone to crap, so you could tweet me. I'll still get it on my phone, but I'm trying to jack with the internet. For whatever reason, the thing isn't working. We'll try to figure it out. Just kind of hit recycle, start it over. That's what you do. I don't know. Can't update anything. You know, some people ask, why do you print things out?
There you go.
And I think this answers the question. There are certain times that you print things out because you never know. And, you know, I mean, you look at my computer, I got like 41 tabs open right now, right? But I know where they are. I can go find them exactly what I'm looking for, except, of course, when the internet is out. So I don't know. So, you know, that's why you print things out, you know. It is what it is. It will come back. I mean, it's the internet. It kind of does what it wants, and it's a Friday afternoon, so maybe the internet has decided to take a break here at the stadium.
I mean, it's worked hard all week, Jason.
Well, it really has. Actually, this router
with your
that I use,
tabs.
Well, the router that I use, it goes into a box and it stays there and comes out every Friday. It's the only time I ever use it is here. So the idea that, you know, I mean, it was working earlier, then now it's not. Hasn't moved. It's in the same spot that I set up in every week here at the stadium. Everything is exactly the same. And you know, it's decided to quit working, which, you know, we'll fight through. We'll be able to do what we need to do. It's just inconvenient and distracting as I try to fix this while talking at the same time. But, you know, it's interesting, Pledge, when you think about the Cowboys this week. It's a bye week. And outside of KZ early in the week, Tuesday, getting a DWI, it's been a very quiet week, and a week in which I think for a lot of Cowboy fans, you want to get some answers because, you know, the last time we saw Dak, he was wearing a boot on his leg because he pulled a calf muscle on the final play of an overtime win over the New England Patriots. But we haven't really had any updates other than originally they were saying that it wasn't that big of a deal. And, you know, the bye is at the right time because, you know, if they had to play this week, it might be a deal. But, you know, their next game is against Minnesota. He should be ready to go for that game. I can only imagine what Dak Prescott and those Cowboys are going to do to the Minnesota Vikings coming off a bye, getting some rest, and getting some other guys healthy. But Jerry Jones did go on 105.3 The Fan today, as he does every Friday with those guys. He didn't take a bye week like Mike McCarthy. Jerry was on the radio today and did give some health updates, not only on Dak, but Michael Gallup and Tyron Smith, a lot of the guys that have been dealing with injuries.
Well, the best way I can say it is picture a big old thumbs up. I think we're all progressing. You can go down the list of our guys that we have coming in the near term. Gallup, of course, and of course, Dak. I feel good about his status. And as we had planned, really, when I go down through all of the players that we expect to be joining us in the near future, substantive players, I can give a thumbs up across the board on it. I don't have any setbacks or any surprises on any of them.
Well, Dr. Jerry is giving thumbs up on everybody. It's going to be interesting to see ultimately how that plays out for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, obviously, he would be able to play. I mean, you know, Troy Aikman made some comments earlier that as a quarterback, you could play with a bad calf. You just have to limit what you're able to do. And I do think we've noticed Dak Prescott more aware of his body through the first part of the season when he's running. Although he did try to get that one first down. I mean, there's times where, you know, you're just going to have to take the hits, sacrifice your body. But if you're dealing with a calf, you know you're not going to scramble. But I look at the number of rollout plays that he has. And does that limit things for Kellen Moore as if he's dealing with a calf injury? And you know he won't be 100% come that Vikings game. I mean, Michael Gallup's got a calf injury. He suffered that against Tampa Bay, and we haven't seen him since. But because Cedric Wilson has played so well, the Cowboys haven't really missed him. But Michael Gallup, when he gets healthy, is going to be that much better. On the defensive side, there is a handful of players like Tank Lawrence who are about to come back. And, you know, yesterday we spent a lot of time talking about the Deshaun Watson trade rumors because that trade deadline is coming up November 2nd. And it's interesting because you wonder if the Cowboys are going to be involved in any trades. But Jerry brought up today, they've got some roster decisions they've got to make just to make room for their injured guys because they're getting healthy. They're about to come back. There's going to be some roster movement just to make room for those guys.
Open for business year-round, absolutely. And that's common knowledge, but absolutely. And talk to any numbers of people. On the other hand, we're, I think, got a unique situation because we've got players coming that we're going to have roster spot room for. And so we're busy. We always say, well, that usually takes care of itself. We'll have a spot open by undetermined or an unidentified injury situation. But still, we're going to have some real roster challenges to get our guys that we are planning on coming back, players that have to be out there, Lawrence, people like that. And I say that grateful. So we've really got a little bigger problem than trading for somebody right now.
Yeah, but I mean, you're always looking to get better. And, you know, quite frankly, you look at, you know, with some of those roster spots that you're about to open, is one of those players maybe tradable as opposed to trying to hide on the practice squad? Is there some help out there that you might be able to get, whether it's secondary help, whether it's linebacker help? What do the Cowboys seem to have a lot of that somebody else is going to want? And, you know, quite frankly, I'm Tyron Smith is the one that concerns me the most because it's been a long time since that guy's played in every regular season game. But when you look at the way Terrence Steele has played this year, and you're getting Collins back from the suspension that he had, does a guy like Ty Nsekhe, a veteran offensive line, become pretty nice trade bait for a team that is dealing with offensive line issues? Now, I'm watching a Thursday night game last night with Denver and Cleveland. And you talk about a couple of bad football teams, but at least in the idea of Cleveland, you know it's their injuries. You know, Case Keenum does what Case Keenum always does. He just shows up and wins football games. Was running for his life because, you know, we talk about the injuries to Baker. We talk about the injuries to Hunt. You talk about the injury to Chubb. Did you hear those guys last night, Troy and Joe, talking about the injuries to that Cleveland Browns offensive line? Did you see some players on that defensive side that would be pretty nice guys to wear a Cowboys uniform? You're telling me Cleveland couldn't use a guy like Ty Nsekhe, who, by the way, on that Cleveland staff happens to be Callahan, who was his offensive line coach when he was with Washington. So, I mean, you start connecting the dots like that. You say, well, maybe you can make a trade for somebody in Cleveland and lose a Ty Inseki. I know Ty, when he left Buffalo and signed with Dallas, he's from the Metroplex, went to Arlington. You look at him and go, I know he wanted to be able to finish his career in Dallas, but if you're the Cowboys and you can get something for him, don't you make that trade? And you realize they got a lot of guys that are going to come back. They're going to take roster spots. They just are. And if I'm Jerry Jones and I'm Stephen Jones and I'm Will McClay, I'm looking at this Dallas Cowboys team, where they sit right now, and I'm looking at their upcoming schedule, the ability for them to stack win after win after win. This team looks like it's about to have one of those special type seasons. And I know we talk about it every year as Cowboy fans. Could this be the year they get back to the Super Bowl? This team has that look. It really does. I mean, we've seen almost before, and the and buts. And part of that is this defense has played better than most of us thought that they would. Offensively, quite frankly, I thought they'd be better, and that's partly because of the struggles this Cowboys team has had in the red zone, and that is something that is fixable. But the defense has played far better, but there's still some holes there. And you look around the NFC, Arizona, I think, is legit good. They're not just a team getting lucky. That is a legit good football team. I look at Green Bay, as long as they got Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be in the mix because, well, it's Aaron Rodgers, and that is what Aaron Rodgers does, right? You look around at the best teams in the NFC, and you can't tell me. I know Tampa Bay is still going to be there. Cowboys are in that mix. If you're Jerry and you've got a chance and you're going all in, he's a gambler. You go all in. If you could trade a Ty Inseki for somebody that's going to help that defense get better, don't you make that trade? Don't you have to make that trade? I don't know if I like hearing him, although it's Jerry and he's on the radio saying, I'm like, wow, we got bigger roster issues. We got to make room for the guys coming back off IR. Yet Stephen Jones consistently will tell you roster construction is 24/7, 365. And you've got some guys, you have some guys that people are going to want and are willing to make trades for. This year for Cleveland, trading for Ty Inseki isn't to make them better. It's to help them survive the next 10 weeks of the regular season. They need offensive linemen. The Cowboys, they look pretty deep right now on the offensive line. Now, I don't know if I'd give up one of the other guys, but I'd give up Ty Inseki just because Terrence Steele has played so well. I wouldn't give up one of the Connors. Certainly, you're not giving up one of the starters. But I do think a guy like Ty Inseki is certainly tradable at this point for something quality in return. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Coming up at 5 o'clock, we'll visit with the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies. Andrew Monaco will join us just after 5 o'clock. You know, I mentioned I've got a bunch of family in town for my niece's graduation. My brother-in-law was checking out my garage yesterday and the shelves that I had installed from Garageization, because that's what dudes do. I mean, he just went out to the beer fridge and came back like, man, dude, I love those shelves. Where'd you get them? And, I started telling him about them. And, you need to organize your garage, especially if you've got a couple of cars that you want to park inside. You got your golf clubs, the kids' bikes. You need to organize your garage. Call Garageization. 210-664-4494 is the phone number. Talk to them about shelves like what I had installed. Their overhead racks, closed storage, the slat walls. Make your garage functional for the entire family. I know I needed to do that. Just had them installed a couple of months ago, and I love the organization of my garage now. And when you call Garageization, they're going to do for you like they did for me. They're going to come out to your house and give you a customized plan based on your needs, what your garage has, and they're going to listen to you. What is it that you need in your garage? And they're going to give you the plan that fits what you need. You need some overhead racks, they can do that for you. There's closed storage, you need slat walls. Those shelves I have are great. What I love about the shelves, they're great for storage stuff on top of the shelf, but they have these adjustable bars underneath with hooks and whatnot, so you can hang stuff underneath, so you're utilizing all that great space. Garageization, 210-664-4494 is the phone number. They've been doing this since 2008, helping San Antonians love their garage, and they're a great veteran-owned or a company, Garageization. Call them or go to their website. The website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com. That's garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
Score $1,000 now. Enter the winning keyword, COOL, COOL, COOL at sasportstar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If you're shopping for a new car this weekend, go see my friends at Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira Itenado complex. Easy for me to tell you about and recommend Ancira because I am a longtime Ancira customer. Through the years, I bought many vehicles from Ancira, and it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with the options and features that you're looking for. They'll give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available, and their service after the sale is second to none. And you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira Itenado complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Score points with some of the boldest keto-friendly, protein-packed, and low-carb snacks out there. And with their new Southern Recipe small batch 6-bag variety pack, you'll get to choose a different flavored pork rind every time. Find Southern Recipe small batch at your local H-E-B, and you'll always have pork rinds ready to go. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Be big, be bold, be adventurous.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
If your dream vacation doesn't include your spouse, it may be time for a permanent getaway. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Pulling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
At Enrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Enrique. Call 354-2020 for the Enrique difference. That's 354-2020.
We're back and better than ever. A new web interface for the start of the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline.net remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football betting content this season. From basketball, football, baseball postseason, NHL, boxing, and right up to the upcoming UFC event. So don't wait to check out all the latest news, odds, and information for the 2021 season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to find all the info on your favorite sports. BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
At Diamonds Direct, nobody tells our story better than our own associates.
I hear from customers that come in how shocked they are. They're able to, only with Diamonds Direct, afford a diamond that they never in their wildest dreams thought they'd be able to get.
People are just thrilled with what we offer.
We have exponentially more to choose from. The resources that we have all the way from our wholesale roots, really untouchable.
When you come here to Diamonds Direct, you know it's something special. You know it's something that is one of a kind, and you got that at such a phenomenal value.
To be a jeweler and have this kind of firepower, we have all these mountings, all this selection, all these diamonds, and incredible prices is just unmatched.
And I think our customers appreciate that we are so open and honest about every part of this process.
What they're surprised by is the extent that we go to provide an unparalleled, luxurious shopping experience.
This company has a 60-year heritage in diamond cutting, diamond mining, diamond wholesaling. So there's no possible way to get any closer to the source than with Diamonds Direct.
We won't be undersold.
Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Store hours and directions at diamondsdirect.com.
There's no other game like college football.
The tight end will launch to the end zone.
And no one covers it better It's game day every day for us. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Set your alarm to wake up with us. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. You know, watching the Browns game last night, it just seems like they got running back after running back after running back. And I missed this earlier, so I credit John Robbins for sending this to me, because I'm watching that game last night, and I felt like I knew or heard of Dearness Johnson before, right? But I could not remember where. In 2018, after he got cut from a Saints training camp, this dude DM'd every team in the Alliance of American Football looking for a job. And Steve Spurrier gave him a job.
Mm-hmm.
And he went off last night. Isn't that awesome? And the one thing about the Alliance, they did really good with social media. And their old social media manager, Courtney Kramer, who's now working for the Dallas Stars, saved the screenshot and put it out last night. And I'm looking at her Twitter blew up with that. And I'm watching that game going, where do I know this guy from? Where did he go to college? And, I got a bunch of people at the house didn't even bother to look it up. But how cool is that? Guy was just waiting for his opportunity, and he's got it. And that's kind of like you. You think you could do this? Rock the Mic San Antonio is back. Open auditions to find our next rock star is going to be happening right now. You can upload your take right now at sasportstar.com, or we're going to be out on location at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar. Not next week, following week. We're going to be doing that next Wednesday and Thursday. And for a couple times, we're going to crown the new champion on November 18th to see who is the new Rock the Mic champion. You think you could do this? You want to be a sports broadcaster? Get your submissions in right now at sasportstar.com. We'll take it from there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Rock the Mic brought to you by Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar and Jim Beam. We'll talk some Dallas Cowboys coming up at 5:30. Jon Machota from The Athletic will join us. Spurs play the Denver Nuggets tonight. We'll get you ready for that. Game night San Antonio is at 6 o'clock. But coming up next, we're going to talk some Aggies with Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies. And if you're an Aggie fan looking for a place to watch the game, you need to get into an Aggie bar like the Rue Pub. They're at 281 in Redland Road. There's no better place in San Antonio to go watch a game than the Rue Pub at 281 and Redland. They've got those 3 massive 170-inch screens, TVs all around. They have all the games on. But Chip is an Aggie. The Aggies are going to be on there, and a lot of Aggies show up there to watch the games, and it's a fun time, whether you're an Aggie fan or not. They got South Carolina tomorrow. You want to watch that game. NFL on Sunday. You want to get in there. Spurs game tonight. No better place to go watch at the Rue Pub, and you're going to eat well. Their kitchen is fantastic. Full menu till 2 a.m., so if you're hungry late, don't go to a drive-thru. Get into Rue Pub. And then next Saturday night, make plans to be there, because they're having their huge annual Halloween party. And it really is the best Halloween party in San Antonio. They're at Rue Pub next door at the Angry Elephant, and then they block off part of the parking lot, so they have that parking lot party going on. DJs are going to be everywhere, and they're going to have a costume contest. Top 20 spots available. You want to get there early to get registered, and the prizes are incredible, including Spurs box tickets, Wade Bowen concert tickets, plenty of gift cards. Get yourself dressed up. Get to the Rue Pub next week. The Rue Pub, next to the Angry Elephant, there at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Rue.
The college football tradition lives here, with in-depth analysis and breakdowns from our team during the week of the Aggies, the Longhorns, UTSA, and more. Catch the gridiron action on Saturdays with live play-by-play from around the country. Bowl season. Let's go! The college football playoff and the national championship comes to life right here. Love it! On San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
Doug. And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb. All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs. Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, you're paying too much. Switching to Pure Talk saves the average family over $800 a year. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say half off, and you'll save 50% off your first month.
Would you like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen, and save space in your cabinet? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
Simple Green.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign of COVID and the flu, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and are not reliable. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the Callaway Apex Trade-In event running now through October 31st. Bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 50% trade-in bonus towards new Apex 21 irons. The Apex, Apex Pro, and Apex DCB are designed with artificial intelligence for faster ball speeds. Swing by and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
This is the home of the Cowboys, Rangers, and Aggie football. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix on a Football Friday. Glad to have you along. Spurs play the Nuggets tonight. We'll get you ready on Game Night San Antonio in about an hour at 6 o'clock. Speaking of the NBA, some interesting news about to drop. And you talk about a Friday news dump. This one, very interesting. There are reports that ESPN is about to drop a story accusing Suns owner Robert Sarver of racism, sexism, and sexual harassment in a series of incidents. Now, knowing that's about to drop, the Suns just released a statement saying, "We understand that an outlet is considering publishing a proposed story that makes completely baseless claims against the Suns organization concerning a variety of topics." It's interesting that the Phoenix Suns are getting out in front of this in a hurry, because you start hearing that and start scratching your head. In college football news, the domino effect of teams and universities going to new conferences is their Southern Miss is going to the Sun Belt. They've accepted an invite to the Sun Belt, according to Ross Dellinger. We've heard that that was going to happen. Marshall's expected to follow suit, along with James Madison and Old Dominion. It's interesting how it works. I know Texas A&M, they're not leaving the SEC anytime soon. Let's talk about them Aggies. Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies, joining us now as they get ready to take on South Carolina tomorrow out at Kyle Field. Andrew, how's your Friday?
It's good. It's a pretty good decision about a decade ago, huh? By Texas A&M.
you know what?
The carousel is constantly moving.
Well, it is until you get to, speaking of carousels, until you get on the horse you want to be on, and then you're going to stay on that one for a long time. You know, outside of that, you keep jumping from horse to horse until you get that pretty gold one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And really, it's the scramble has been going on. Can you put yourself in the best situation moving forward? And I don't think it's going to be a seismic shift, Jason, but there's going to be another shift coming fairly soon with the changes that are about to be made to the NCAAs and we'll see. I think that alliance between, even though nothing has come of it, I think that was a step with the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12. It was more in response to the SEC. Now, look, I don't know how those three work together. There's a lot that doesn't make sense, but I think just that they reached out to one another tells you that that's going to what the next shift may look like.
Well, and you look at it, Andrew. I mean, you got the SEC and the Power Fives. Let's say, although the Big 12 is kind of teetering once Texas and OU leave, but you wonder at some point, do they just break off away from the NCAA and kind of create their own? And if that's ultimately where it's headed, because, quite frankly, 14, 16, 20 team conferences, they don't excite me as much. I mean, I look at A&M. How long have you guys been in the SEC, and how many times did you play Georgia? That just seems wrong.
Once in Athens. Once.
Yeah.
You play Kentucky at home. We've never been to Kentucky. If it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't have seen Florida at Kyle Field, right? Yeah, that was on the horizon anyway about changing the schedule. I think we've heard a lot of that from all the schools. Can we see more of the competition, and whether that happens with pods in the future or however? I think that was in the works. But I see there's the part of me that absolutely agrees with you, Jason, that whatever it's going to be, Power 4, Super Division 1, I have no idea what they're going to call it. It could be the haves and the have-nots, to be mean about it.
Well,
I just don't think that Super Division 1 is going to share the money like it has in the past and say, you know what, we're going to keep it all for ourselves. It will be interesting, and then there's going to be some musical chairs there as well, I think. But I think that's down the line. I didn't think this would happen again until the next TV deals in 2024, but that all changed this past summer.
Well, it did. And you look at the domino effect in here in San Antonio with UTSA taking the step up from Conference USA to the American Athletic Conference. But with that, we had Dr. Lisa Campos on the show yesterday. The reality is, their athletic budget has to increase. They've got to be able to go and find that money. And, you got Jeff Traylor right now making just under $1 million. You look at the American and, the coach at Navy's making 2.1. That's the neighborhood they're going to have to get that coaching staff into, but also increase. I mean, it's one thing to be in the conference. It's another thing to be competitive in the conference, but there's reasons why, football programs that are on the bottom end of the SEC don't want to get out of there because they like the TV revenue that comes with it. The same thing in the Big 12. I mean, Kansas basketball is great, but we know it's about football, and their football team is not. So, it's once you get a seat at the table, you get those checks, but man, you got to get there and do something with it.
Yeah, that's comes from your boosters, raising the money, the fundraising there, and facilities are all things that become really important. And yeah, you're right. It's one thing to go there. It's another thing to compete. That's huge. That competition part. But you have to have the money when those opportunities become available. And if it proves to be too much, well, then you're looking again for another landing spot. But yeah, it's real interesting that Sunbelts, they just waited patiently, and now they made their move now. A lot of things were out there, especially with the Big 12 making that first move. Wasn't sure how quickly they were going to move, only because there's going to be lawsuits to Texas and Oklahoma. This is my guess in the future, or unless, and everything can be negotiated unless that buyout can be negotiated. But the Big 12 has to get as much money as possible out of those two schools, because it's going to be the last time they get that kind of money, because their next TV deal is not going to be the same. It's just
It's not. And I look at, the Big 12, I don't think is near as strong, even though they're adding some teams to it, including right now the team ranked number 2 in the country in Cincinnati. But I look at the Sun Belt and I look at Southern Miss and go, why? That feels like a step down. But when I look at what's left of Conference USA, I think Sun Belt just leapfrogged Conference USA.
I think it did exactly. Conference USA is almost like the old WAC, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a way, it is. It did get, and again, the hard part is for those schools that are left out, and then you start trying to cobble things together, as happened about 4 or 5 years ago, and really it has led us away from the regional conferences. It's almost we could name them some, almost like minor league baseball now. College football South, college football Midwest. You know what I mean? Something like that. The Southeastern Conference is the closest thing, but the regional rivalries, a shame, have been going away. But it just goes to show you that college football is national. It has become programming for its networks because you just can't get these kind of ratings for any kind of show. And again, it appears to me we'll be going to the haves and the have-nots.
We will. And again, I mean, you look at all the shifts, and I think, a big part of that is air travel has certainly changed a lot of things. It's not like you're taking a bus from, College Station to somewhere in West Virginia for a Tuesday night basketball game. I mean, air travel certainly makes things a lot easier and cuts down distance, so it's not geographics. And, as we're sitting here talking about, all I could think is every 2 years in high school football or high school athletics, the UIL realignment. And a couple of years ago when South San got put in the district with Reagan and Johnson and Mack and Madison, and, it just wasn't fair to those kids. I mean, it was just not right. The haves and the have-nots and the talent disparity that was certainly on display. And, I think we're going to see some of that when it comes to college football down the road.
Yeah. Are you ready for the big BYU UCF matchup that's going to be coming?
I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, I'm salivating to think, man, that is going to be awesome. No, I mean, but but I look at the Big 12, and even with what once Texas and OU leaves, who's the anchor team? Who's the anchor program in the Big 12 for Big 12 football? I think for basketball, you still have Kansas, but it's not Texas Tech. I don't think it's going to be Baylor or TCU from a consistency national brand standpoint. But is it Gundy's mullet? I don't know what it's going to be in the Big 12.
The hard part then is the markets, and they have the markets, but they don't have the best schools or the most marketable schools in those markets in the Big 12. TCU's there in Dallas, but it doesn't register in Dallas. Texas and Oklahoma obviously do. In the Big 12, you get U of H in Houston. That's not Houston's number one college. You know what I mean? That's the thing. But that you do get those markets, but it's not solid. Now Orlando for UCF, I get. You get a Cincinnati market that's rising a little bit more, and maybe that national prominence. But anytime you put conferences together, you think, okay, what cities are they getting for television? And that's not as strong. Now, Jason, we could be going away from that time of market, and is streaming going to be more important for these in the future? I don't know what's going to be the first conference to say, we're going to be on Amazon, we're going to be on Apple TV, I don't know if that's going to happen. Right now, it's always been complementary to ESPN's deal or Fox's deal or the CBS deal. I don't know if someone says, okay, they're going to give us that. Because right now it's the market. That's why Missouri's in the SEC, the St. Louis market. Texas A&M comes in because you get a share of the Texas cities in the SEC, a bit of that footprint that they hadn't had before. But I don't know if that still plays a part when you put schools and conferences going forward.
And, I think in a big way, it's certainly recruiting. And that was a big part of the American wanting to add the teams that they did, including UTSA and Rice, because certainly Rice, what is that going to do from a TV standpoint in the Houston market? But it does help with their recruiting. I just look at these streaming services, Andrew, and they're great, I think, for a lot of schools because at least they're available to watch, but it's hard getting around some of those. And I think that's one of the problems with Conference USA and their demise is the horrible streaming TV package that they have.
Yeah, that hurt because it's a reason why schools have the radio networks, right? Because you would try to blanket the entire state if you could, or your region for some schools. LSU, throughout the state of Louisiana, Alabama, it reaches a little bit farther, but you got to take care of that. When your alums cannot see your game or you make it more difficult, that's something that has to be knocked out. I would love to say that that's just Conference USA's problem. Talk to anybody who's trying to watch a local game on MLB TV where it's blacked out. You know what I mean? So that's something with the streaming that we'll have to keep doing. It hasn't been fixed. But I'm with you. By UTSA, terrific television market that the American gets. You get into Texas. Absolutely, the recruiting is absolutely right. And I hate to say this, it's not Conference USA. The Americans got a better reputation, and I think it's a terrific step forward.
Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, it really is incredible. And again, the streaming I think is great for programs like UIW, for Sam Houston State, even Texas State for that matter. But you're trying to play on a big boy stage. I need to flip around. I like to be able to, know exactly where I'm going. On the streaming, it's tougher. And, even Spurs preseason games, they tried streaming on the app. You know how many times I was getting a little bit of sound and then I just watched it spin on my phone, and it's just or maybe I'm too old for it. Maybe there's a combination of things there as we visit with Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies, talking some just general college football. But your Aggies have a pretty big game tomorrow heading into a bye week. You got that team made the Missouri. Was it as easy? Did it feel as easy as it looked?
Yes. And that's no disrespect to Missouri. The reason why I said it so quickly, that was the message all week, Jason. You've got to bring the energy because it's not going to be the build up to Alabama. You're going to go on the road. You're going to, again, we talked before, you are now the favorites. You're no longer the underdog. Missouri wants to beat the team that just beat number one because now you can make Missouri's season. It wasn't a great atmosphere. It was the early start, and the Aggies jumped on them. Interception, Jalen Jones, a 3-touchdown lead, 21-0. Still left some stuff out there, but you had to love that energy. And Jimbo called it a trap game. So on his coach's show this week, I said, can you have a trap game coming off a trap game? And he said, absolutely. You have to do the same thing against South Carolina. Don't just depend on being at Kyle Field for that energy. Make the 12th man give you even more energy by the way you play. But yeah, to me, they grew up a little bit, Jason. I'm not going to lie. I think the team grew up and realized preparation for Saturday against Missouri, do what we do. They won both lines of scrimmage. They were able to just run it right down Missouri's throat. And that defensive line, I'm telling you, they're just absolutely dominating. And they contained I think a very good running back in the SEC in Tyler Beatty. And they had Bazelak on his heels a little bit. When that defensive line comes to play, they can really make their mark. And that front four can help that back seven for sure.
Absolutely. Andrew Monaco, voice of the Aggies, joining us here on the Blitz. Of course, he'll be on the call tomorrow over on our brother station, AM 550, KTSA, and 107.1 FM. Andrew, I look at this South Carolina team, and for whatever reason, it felt like the SEC said, okay, A&M, South Carolina, you guys are going to be rivals. You're going to play every year. It was that forced rivalry that A&M has just dominated. Although I was at the game last time they played at Kyle. Was that 2 years ago? And it was an interesting game. Aggies ended up winning, but it was kind of an ugly game. And I get the sense that they're all that way, although A&M should be able to dominate this team. Or, as Jimbo said, is this a trap game? Are you nervous about it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Last year, they nearly pitched a shutout on the road, and that's difficult, not just in college football in the SEC. And I don't know if I'm right in this or not, but that was Will Muschamp's last game, and I think part of that decision may have been, hey, look where A&M is 3 years in when they had 6 years with Will Muschamp, where South Carolina is. So they turned to Shane Beamer, who's been around that program. He is Frank Beamer's son. What South Carolina does well, boy, they can take away their risk reward when it comes to defense. They've got 10 interceptions. 3 of them have been pick sixes. This is a team that has blocked 3 punts. This is a team that they have a pass off a fake punt. I just learned today it was against punt safe. They still threw it. So, the Beamer special teams is going to always be there because that's what he grew up with. It's now going to be offensively. I believe they get their left guard back, but that offensive line hasn't been their strength. And 2 of their running backs have been beat up, including Kevin Harris, who led the SEC last year in rushing, a very good back. So, again, can that defensive line dominate? And can this offensive line for A&M, again, impose its will? South Carolina's defensive front is better than a lot of people give them credit for. But I think it's that back end. Aggies might see something a little bit different, a little tighter play from that back end. And they've got to know where Jalen Foster is at all times. He's got 4 picks this year. That's tied for first in the nation, including 3 of them against SEC competition. He had 2 against Georgia. He had 1 against Kentucky. So he's not just feasting on the non-conference.
Absolutely not. Now I think about South Carolina, reading their about their last game. The quarterback gets hurt, guy comes off the bench, hero. He's marches right down on a 75-yard touchdown drive, but it was against Vanderbilt. But reading it almost kind of feels like what Zach Calzada faced against Colorado. Backup quarterback comes into the game and ultimately directs a game-winning drive.
Yeah, and this is Zeb Nolan. Good story. Grad assistant, was coaching in camp. 8 days after he's a coach, they sued him up because of the injuries to Luke Doty. And Doty was never healthy all year, finally out for the season. So Nolan, who had been a backup or had been a quarterback at Iowa State, then North Dakota State, but he couldn't beat out Trey Nance at North Dakota State, who's now with San Francisco. And then he goes to South Carolina. He wants to start his coaching career. I was talking with Todd Ellis, their play-by-play guy, the former quarterback there, and he said he's watching this GA throw to the receivers before the drill, and he's like, who is this guy? And he's at practice with Connor Shaw, the former quarterback. He goes, yeah, that's the GA that they just signed. Yeah, he looks pretty good. Todd said, yeah, a little over a week later, there he is wearing a number. But it's Zeb Nolan's job now, and this will be the 4th start that he's going to make. Yes, where I will discount is Vanderbilt, for some reason, played a 3-man front, dropped 8. Zeb Nolan was just too smart for that. They get the win. What I will give you, though, is that's Shane Beamer's first SEC win, and that's got to be excitement. And can you build off that? But it is going to be a different level of competition, obviously. But South Carolina does have some strengths, and I'm going to have to agree with Jimbo. The trap game on the trap game, you've got to be focused on this as much as you had that focus going into Missouri.
Because I think we look at this South Carolina team and say A&M is just better. A&M should be 3 or 4 touchdowns better. Across the board, they're better. And Zach Calzada, since that Alabama game, has looked like a different dude.
Yeah, he's been better. Not to be funny, he's been better. You know what I mean? It's the confidence, it's the reps. He's the leader. They're playing for him. This offensive line coming together for him. The very nice thing is, he's got number 28 behind him that he can hand off. Or, you know what? There's Devon Achane on a 3rd and 15, picking up a first down and getting a touchdown. It's nice to have that. He should get Caleb Chapman back on Saturday, another target that he really hasn't been able to throw to in the past. Anaya Smith said this week, look, 3rd down, you need somebody. I will get open for you. I think you finally get a chance to get that rapport with your receivers, with your tight end. You threw to them every once in a while in the beginning, but now that he gets to run with the ones, I think you get to know those tendencies. And let's be honest here. Let's see where Shane Beamer is. In his 4th year, Jimbo Fisher has this program where he wants to be and where he wants to go because of the recruiting in the offseason, to see that the Bryce Fosters, who came in as true freshmen, and the Reuben Fotheries, they're no longer true freshmen, right? They've got 7 games under their belt. They've got 4 SEC games. They are getting better. You can see that talent. Like Jimbo said, he didn't want to have to play them. He wanted to play them when he wanted to put them in, not when he needed or had to put them in. But they got pressed into duty. But they had a great game. Those 2 offensive linemen, a Tyreek Chappelle, who's at the corner because Miles Jones is gone, a super senior, and Brian George, his backup, is gone. He has to play Tyreek Chappelle. But when you got a Jalen Jones on the other side, he's something special. That's for sure. You can see those 2 talking to one another on that practice field. And now, Jason, I also think it's that leadership coming in. Isaiah Spiller has taken some of that on the offensive side. You can see Leon O'Neal Jr. do that on the other side, on the defensive side, and DeMarvin Leal. And you're seeing guys saying, if we are going to win, I have to play my best. And you're seeing DeMarvin do that, and Michael Clemens on that defensive line, and they'll get Jaden Peavy back. These super seniors, the guys who came back for one more year because they wanted something special together, they have a chance to do that going forward.
Absolutely. Andrew Monaco, voice of the Aggies. Kickoff tomorrow at 6:30. Pregame gets going at 5:30 over on KTSA. Night game at Kyle Field. Hope it's as fun as the last one, although I doubt it. It's still going to be fun, but not quite like the last night game at Kyle.
That last one was a whole lot of fun. But I have a feeling he'll try to. You can't equal that atmosphere, but the home games have been absolutely special this year for sure.
I would imagine Jimbo would like it to be wrapped up before the final seconds in a kick.
I agree with you. Absolutely. I think that in a perfect world, that's exactly what he would like.
Andrew, have a good call tomorrow. Always appreciate it. Do we get to talk to you next week on a bye, or are you going to find your way to a beach?
Oh, let's see. My bye week, Jason, in all honesty, is filling up quickly. So we may be talking next week. I thought I was going to take some time off, fruity liquor drinks, sand between my toes. It's not coming out that way. So you know what? TBA. This is like when you have to decide TV. We're not sure when we're going to do it, but I'll get you in the 6-day window. How about that?
That'll work. We'll talk with Andrew next Friday at 5. Andrew Monaco, have a good call, my friend.
Thank you, Jason.
Appreciate it. Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies. You look at the football schedule this weekend, and there's not that one game that just jumps out that says, man, I've got to watch this. This is the game of the week. I think game day is going to Pasadena for UCLA, Oregon. I know Notre Dame is playing USC, but you look around and you don't have that, man, I got to watch this kind of game, which means we're going to have some crazy stuff happening on a Saturday. I mean, that's how the football gods always work it on college football. When you look and go, man, this schedule isn't quite as attractive as, and then you end up with upsets and you end up with all kinds of stuff. There's some games to watch in every TV window, every time window. It's going to be a lot of fun as you plan your Saturday around your TV football watching. Keep that in mind. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. James, you eating Cheetos in there? Okay.
Lunch, dinner, breakfast, all of it.
Lunch, dinner, breakfast. I just see you eating. Yeah, you know, just keep eating. And I'm thinking, man, guy's going to do Sports Center in about 60 seconds. Last thing he needs is a Cheeto in his mouth. So I'll let you finish, get a drink of water, and tell you that if you've got plans this weekend, I know none of you plan on getting arrested, but some of you will. Maybe for eating too many Cheetos, and then you got that Cheeto dust, and you leave a fingerprint where you shouldn't, and then boom, you make the job easy. In all seriousness, though, if you get arrested, somebody you know gets arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff over at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail. A lot of reasons for that. And you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before you accept it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds, because nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7. Offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. Whether you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between, license number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text the word bail to 474747 or go online, mybestbailbonds.com. We'll talk Cowboys with Jon Machota from The Athletic coming up next after the Cheeto-eating James Pledger mumbles through Sports Center.
Well, thank you, Jason. We'll start off in Major League Baseball, where the Houston Astros look to punch their ticket into the World Series tonight as they lead the Boston Red Sox 2-1, with the series now shifted back to Houston for these final 2 games. Houston will try and close it out with first pitch from Game 6 tonight at Minute Maid Park, set for 7:08. Luis Garcia will get the start for the Astros, while the Red Sox send Nathan Eovaldi to the mound. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs are 1-0 as they look to return to action tonight in their first road game of the year when they take on the Denver Nuggets, who are also 1-0 on the season. Tip-off for tonight's game is set for 8, and Game Night San Antonio will help you get you ready for that game at 6 o'clock on the Blitz. In the NFL on Sunday, the Texans head to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals, and former Texans DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt kick off the set for 3:25 on Sunday afternoon. In soccer action, San Antonio FC will look to bounce back from their loss to New Mexico earlier this week as they welcome the Austin Bold FC into Toyota Field for a 7:30 kick tomorrow night. Well, finally, in college football, the 24th ranked and undefeated UTSA Roadrunners head to Ruston to take on La Tech at 6 o'clock, while the 17th ranked Aggies take on South Carolina with kickoff set for 6:30. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
At Enrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Manrique. Call 354-2020 for the Manrique difference. That's 354-2020.
You know, if you're into a football game tonight, one of those great high school football games, you get yourself a sausage wrap. You think about that great Kielbasa sausage. Great local San Antonio company is Kielbasa Smoked Meat. Started here in San Antonio in 1949, and they designed the length of their sausage to fit perfectly in a tortilla. It doesn't get more San Antonio than that. It is a sausage length that's perfect for tortillas. That's where the sausage wraps came from. That's why they're so popular. So when you're sitting at the stadium enjoying one, you're going to have that bit of knowledge. And you know it's going to be fantastic because it's football weekend. You can't watch football without some great sausage. I know I'm having a big old party tomorrow. Going to have a lot of varieties of Kielbasa sausage available. Some that I'm just going to have on the grill, making the pig shots using Kielbasa sausage, which is fantastic. If you don't know what a pig shot is, you take a sausage, you cut it in little discs, then you put bacon, season the bacon, you put it, cut it in half, wrap it around, and so you create this, and then you put this goodness inside that, and it's fantastic. They're great. Better when you use Kielbasa sausage. Got some jalapeno beef for that. That's going this weekend on the grill because the versatility with Kielbasa sausage is incredible. Whether you're wrapping in tortilla because it's easy to eat while you're at a football game or you're doing grilling in the backyard, you know, you get your tortillas, get your cold beverages, and get into the grocery store. Get that Kielbasa today.
Hey, sports bettors, I'm talking to you. This is Rob Thompson here to tell you about my favorite sports book. That's BetUS. Football's here. You need to be playing it. It's been a great couple of weeks. Why not start now? Well, BetUS is the best place to start because they've been around for 25 years. That's the integrity I'm looking for with the longevity. You need a sports book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, you name it, they've got it. To join, it's so easy. Call today, 1-800-79-BET-US. Again, 1-800-79-BET-US. And when you dial it, remember this, KZDC. If you tell them KZDC, that's us, you're going to get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody does that. I bet at BetUS, so should you. I want you to join BetUS.com today. Call them right now. Start betting with America's favorite sports book. And remember to use KZDC for up to 200% in bonuses. BetUS.com. It's where the game begins.
At CDW, we get the right workspace helps you work better.
It took 3 encyclopedias, but my webcam is finally at the right height. And I found the perfect cardboard box for my tangled assortment of cords and cables.
Sounds great, but with TripLight Work from Anywhere solutions orchestrated by CDW, it's easier for your teams to work consistently and productively with tools like monitor mounts, USB docks, and adapters.
Know anyone who wants 3 encyclopedias from 1992?
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/TripLight.
Did you know that United Healthcare helps connect you to doctors and therapists with 24/7 access to virtual care?
So I could have therapy from my couch?
Yep.
Or a doctor appointment from my car?
If you wanted to.
Wait, you're right. I don't even like when people see me sing in the car. Couch appointment it is.
Virtual visits are just one of the ways United Healthcare helps connect you to better health. Learn more at uhc.com. Plan benefits may vary.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Texas Cheer Liquor, your one-stop shop for beer, liquor, wine, and cigars. Follow them on Facebook to keep up with specials and tastings. 4 locations, 2 on Petranco, 1 past 211, 1 in 90 in Montgomery, and the all-new Texas Cheer Liquor next to Walmart Palo Alto Road, Suite 101.
The Big 12 and SEC football. Don't worry, you'll hear our opinions. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix on a good football Friday, but a bye week for the Longhorns, a bye week for the Dallas Cowboys, but we never stop talking about them. There's no bye week when it comes to Cowboys news. Let's talk with Jon Machota from The Athletic. You don't get a bye week either.
No, of course not. And especially when it's a 5-1 start. There's just too much thirst for Cowboys information and Cowboys stories. There's no bye week.
No, definitely not any bye week. And again, I mean, I know DeMonte Casey made some negative news at the beginning of the bye week. Outside of that, it's been fairly quiet, but I know the players are gone. Mike McCarthy's always talking about self-scouting. How much time do the coaches actually get off during this bye week?
I mean, I'm sure they're going to get a few days, but my coaches by nature, they're going to put in a lot of time. I mean, they know how fleeting these jobs are to even have to begin with, and on top of it to be 5-1 like that. I mean, yeah, they'll get a little time away, but I don't think it's going to be very much. I mean, that's the thing. Like bye weeks, I feel like are more for players and not even like players like to get away and like go on vacation. It's more so for like players that are dealing with nagging injuries to like, hey, take some time away from the facility, but then come back next Monday ready to go because, we got to keep this thing rolling, especially when your team is 5-1. So I don't think that the coaches are getting much time off.
No. And what I find interesting is it seems like they made every position coach available to the media. You've got a great article on The Athletic where you got to talk to all the different position coaches about the star players. What was the 1 or 2 nuggets in there that kind of surprised you with the answers that you received?
I don't know if it was just the answers, and I don't know if this would be the most interesting thing to everybody, but for me personally, it was one of the last coaches we got was Joe Witt, and we didn't get a chance to talk to Joe Witt before this because they just don't make the assistants available. And so a lot of these coaches like Al Harris and several other guys on offense like Joe Philbin and even Doug Nussmeier, I mean, we haven't talked to them really since before the start of last season. And so to get this opportunity, that was like the first time talking to Joe Witt. And just his intensity and just like the answers he gave and even talking about how he's very open with the idea and he understands because he's been told by many people he's not necessarily always the easiest guy to deal with because there's no gray area with him. It's either you did it right or you did it wrong. And just the intensity of talking to him and the fact that he's up in that coaching box with Dan Quinn and knowing how intense Dan Quinn was or is, it just – while I should have been focused on the 5-1 start and players on the field, the thing that kept like resonating in my mind was like, oh yeah, the reason Hard Knocks wasn't interesting is because the Cowboys get to final editing saying this. Because if they had these 2 guys up in the booth during some of those preseason games, like there's no way that there wasn't interesting Hard Knocks stuff from these 2 guys alone. Forget everything else that was going on, like just how intense those 2 guys are, and they deserve the most credit for the defensive turnaround in terms of that coaching staff because Dan Quinn is kind of, running the front half and Joe Witt is on the back half. And he was very, very interesting to talk to. And then also Al Harris, the DB coach that, he's the guy that played, made some Pro Bowls for the Packers. He's was a Packers star defensive back. And just to hear, him talk about Trayvon Diggs and comparing him specifically to Marcus Peters because Al Harris got a chance to work with Marcus Peters early in his career in Kansas City and just the way he saw him play and basically breaking it down to as simple as, they just make plays, Marcus Peters and Trayvon Diggs, that like other corners, they're either just trying to get a tackle or knock the ball down. These guys are not only getting there, but they're picking off the pass. And it just, you can sit there and try and take, credit for it as a coach, but when you got guys like that, it's like either you have those instincts or you don't, and they clearly do.
Absolutely. And for those that don't know, Joe Witt is the secondary coach and what was the official term, passing game coordinator from the defensive side. And you look at it, this defense is playing extremely well. And I think nobody is surprised with what we're seeing out of this Cowboys offense, but I think we all are a little bit more surprised. We knew the Cowboys defense would be better. I didn't think they were going to be this better, and they've got Tank Lawrence coming back.
Yeah, that is pretty wild to think about. I mean, now I don't think Tank. I still think it's at least another 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks for Tank. And the way that they started the season, there's no reason to rush him back. I mean, make sure that he gets that foot completely right because they got bigger things ahead for them for sure. But yeah, him and Neville Gallimore, who I think Mike McCarthy said earlier in the week that Neville Gallimore is a little bit further ahead than Tank. So maybe you get Gallimore back in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that. But yeah, the addition of both those guys, it just really makes you think like, man, what could they be doing on top of what they're doing right now? And you can see room where they can be better. I mean, them picking off passes and forcing fumbles is kind of camouflaging some of their deficiencies. And sure. with even better pass rush, I think that's where you can, I mean, heck, they got to get better against the run. And I'd say the biggest thing, and then this goes back to talking to Joe Witt, I mean, they have to get better at giving up the big plays in the passing game. I mean, they're near the bottom of the league in whatever category you want to give up, passing touchdowns, passing plays of 20 plus yards, passing plays of 40 plus yards. Like that's an area that has to get cleaned up. And so with adding that pass rush by getting a Neville Gallimore, by getting DeMarcus Lawrence, that speeds up that clock for quarterbacks. And you've already seen Anthony Brown's been able to make some plays on the ball, and obviously Trayvon Diggs has. So you get a guy like that, and all of a sudden things can speed up. And then the other thing is too, is that it opens things up for Micah Parsons as well, because there's just really nobody that you can double team, because obviously teams are going to double team a guy, but then when they do that, then Lawrence can go, Gregory can go, vice versa. So yeah, they're obviously thrilled with the idea of getting a guy like Lawrence back.
Especially when they get him back, it's going to be in time for that stretch run when the schedule does get a little tougher, as we visit with Jon Machota from The Athletic here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I know everybody's kind of within the organization, including Jerry today on the radio up there in Dallas, is kind of nixed any trade potential talk. But as good as this team looks right now, I would like to think Jerry would go all in. And if he had a chance to trade for somebody that would make that defense better, somebody that could come in and help this defense get, even if it's just a little bit better, get it better, why would you expect him to make a trade if an offer was there? You look at a guy like Ty Nsekhe. There's people out there that need offensive line depth. He becomes expendable because Terrence Steele is playing well and you're getting La'el Collins back. Are you surprised that, at least publicly, what they're saying is they're not even really thinking about the trade deadline?
I'm not surprised, just because I can't remember the last time that they've been in a situation where they have so many guys coming back and specifically on defense. Like if Neville Gallimore's injury was season ending, I absolutely would be like, they have to be looking at defensive tackles at the trade deadline, like getting something, just another body in there to pair with Osa. And because even with Tristan Hill, you still they expect to get him back. Dan Quinn has talked about him multiple times in the last couple of weeks, but there's no definitive date on when he's coming back. And, going back in the start of the season, defensive tackle was a position I certainly had the most concern about. I felt like it was the weakest position on the team, and Osa Odighizuwa has done a lot to kind of cover that up. Now, it's still, I think, it's one of the weakest positions on the team. If they were going to make a move, that would probably be the position. If they were like, what position do we need to target? I would say that would still be number one for me, just to add more bodies in the middle there. But, getting Gallimore back will help there. I don't know that they're completely not listening. I certainly think they would listen if there's a good offer there and they can get a veteran player and it's not going to cost them, a significant draft pick. I don't think they'd rule that out. I just don't think that they're the aggressors right now because of the players we mentioned that they're getting back, and because of they like the guys on their roster right now, that it's getting to a position where they're going to have to let some guys go that are going to be some tough decisions, because you are getting Gallimore back, you are getting DeMarcus Lawrence back, you're getting Michael Gallup back, Kelvin Joseph. Like, you're going to have to clear roster spots for those guys, and so you're going to have to make some tougher decisions. And so I think they're not going to be that active, but if somebody puts something on the table, they're certainly going to listen. I mean, they'd have to.
Yeah, they have to. Jon Machota from The Athletic joining us here on the Blitz. Are you surprised at the level of concern the Cowboys seem to be showing when it comes to Dak and that calf muscle? Like the we'll see, but very optimistic that it's not that big of a deal?
A little bit, just because for me, the calf thing is a little bit more concerning to me than I thought the throwing shoulder. And I know that there's probably quarterback gurus that would be like, no way, it's the throwing. I just thought that they were being super cautious because it was the preseason. But having this in during the season, even though he is getting this week off, like it's not that I don't think he can play through it. It's the idea of like, what if he makes it worse? And so they have, they're not going to ask. This isn't going to fall on just on Dak. I mean, this is going to be on the medical staff. On, doesn't giving him another week off or two, does it make things significantly better? Or is it really not going to get that much better until he has a full off season, to kind of recover in that? And if that's the case, well, then he's going back out there because, especially if he can't injure it any further, if they don't think. But I think the biggest thing is that it's going to be hard to get Dak not to play against Minnesota. I would imagine if I'm betting on it, I'd say that he does. The part is like, how much different is the game plan? Because I just don't see him running around as much as he was against New England. It just wouldn't make any sense. And he needed, as much as you want to say it's about like throwing an upper body and things like that, he needed that calf against New England to get outside the pocket and extend some of those plays after, there's some disguised coverages from Bill Belichick right at the snap and things like that. Like that's one of his great strengths. And so I wonder how much that'll limit him. And so I'm sure he's doing everything possible right now, rehabbing it. And like I said, I think he'll be ready to go for Minnesota. It's going to be one of those injuries you're going to have to monitor for the rest of the season.
And we know he won't be close to 100%, but how effective is he going to be? Because, as soon as I saw the photos and the tweets coming out with that boot, all I could think is damn, Cooper Rush is still the backup here. And that's the one thing that, it's like they did not address backup quarterback in the offseason with somebody that I think most would be comfortable with saying, all right, this guy can go win a game or two if we need him to.
You say that, and I completely agree with you 100%. Let me just start with that. There's no doubt I believe in that. But there is also this part of me that goes, no way did anybody expect Osa to step up and play defensive tackle the way he did when Gallimore went down. Nobody certainly expected Terrence Steele to come in and play as well as he did when Lyle Collins went down. Nobody expected Cedric Wilson to come in and play as well as he has when Michael Gallup went down. So there's part of you where you're just kind of like, well, maybe if Cooper has a starter game, like maybe he can keep the ship afloat, like if it is against Minnesota or something like that. Certainly Dak doesn't want that, but like the way that this coaching staff this year, how much different it's been from Cowboys teams in the past, because Cowboys teams in the past, I mean, a guy goes down, you're playing a backup, and you're just like, oh, this is going to be a long day. Like, keep your eye on that guy because he's about to get destroyed. Like, you don't necessarily get that sense this year. I mean, their overcoming adversity this year has probably been their greatest strength. And so there is a part of me that's kind of like, well, if you really want to roll the dice on the ultimate limit, then maybe throw Cooper Rush out there against Minnesota and just see how bad it could be. Maybe it's not as bad as we think it is. Certainly, it's not going to be anywhere near as good as Dak, but it just, you watch that game last night and you're like, man, I don't know, me personally, I should say, I didn't know that Case Keenum was going to keep the ship afloat quite like he did, but he looked pretty solid in doing so for the Browns last night.
That's all Case Keenum does is go in and win football games in his in
really
a backup role. I mean, he's made a career out of doing it. I think about last year, they invested in a backup quarterback on a year that they needed to because of what happened against the Giants last year. The ankle got snapped. The unfortunate part is, Andy Dalton was playing behind a bad offensive backup offensive lineman. Zeke was fumbling the ball left and right. I don't know that, you get a fair shake of what you saw backups doing last year with this Cowboys organization. I would imagine Andy would love to be in Cooper Rush's situation right now. Maybe I play against Minnesota, but I'll have Lyle Collins, I'll have Tyron Smith, Zeke, and all these weapons in a fully functional offense, and we'll see. But I just look at him and go, dude, it's still Cooper Rush. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the other thing with Andy Dalton, he would love to see a better Ezekiel Elliott this year. And then the other part is that you see the playbook is just opened up immensely for CeeDee Lamb. I mean, when he had him last year as a rookie, he was mostly in the slot. And I'm not second guessing the Cowboys plan in that. I think that was the perfect plan because of COVID. Like, it was just hard to implement a young rookie receiver. And all of a sudden, like, yeah, here's the whole playbook, kid. Learn the whole thing. It was like, no, we have Gallup, we have Cooper. Why don't you stay in the slot, and then we'll kind of progress as the season goes on, and then next off season we can get a regular off season, and then you can get more on the outside. And obviously that was a big help with some of the big plays he made against New England and even earlier in this year. So yeah, no, this is a way better situation if you did have Andy Dalton. And hey, I mean, I'm not saying that Cooper Rush is going to come in there and even look as good as Case Keenum, but if you have to get by with him for a game, especially like against a team like Minnesota, who I don't think Minnesota's awful, but I also don't think they're like an upper echelon team where you're going to have absolutely elite quarterback play. I don't know that I would go into that game and go, well, this is going to be a loss. Might as well just move on and get ready for the following week. Like maybe he keeps them afloat for like a little bit, but I certainly don't feel great about if they were going to go Cooper Rush for several games, where I would feel much better if all of a sudden you were like, yeah, Dak's going to be out for 3 or 4 games, and then you have Andy Dalton. You feel much better in that sense.
Absolutely. Jon Machota, enjoy the weekend off. What do you just sit at the house and watch Red Zone all day like the rest of us?
Yeah, I was thinking about catching some high school football today, but then, yeah, tomorrow and Sunday, maybe just, probably sitting around watching games and just laying on the couch, really enjoying it.
Nothing wrong with that. Make sure you're following Jon on Twitter at Jon Machota. Subscribe and read his great stuff there at The Athletic. Jon, enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. You take it easy.
Appreciate it. Jon Machota from The Athletic here on the Blitz. It's going to be an interesting weekend. And, of course, the Monday night game could be a pretty good one as well. Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to be live Monday out at 1911 Cigars over there in Selma on Main Street. Going to be a lot of fun for that. We'll talk some Spurs coming up in about 10 minutes. Jeff Garcia from Spurs Zone is going to join us as the Spurs are in Denver to take on the Nuggets. If you need your logo on any kind of gear, you need to get into Sammy's Embroidery Club over on San Pedro. If you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, you just need your logo on something, Sammy's Embroidery Club has your shirts, your jackets, your caps, uniforms. Sam has over 700 uniform lines to choose from, and he's got inventory in stock. Not many can say that, but Sam has plenty of stock. Polos, T-shirts, hats. In fact, he has the largest selection of caps in stock, including the popular Richardson style cap that he has in stock. In fact, he has over 10,000 hats on display right now in his showroom. And it's not just embroidery. He can do silkscreen shirts as well for any occasion. Sammy's Embroidery and Printing. Nobody has better prices. Sam has all the big name brands and is the only company in Texas with one-day turnaround. No order too small, certainly no order too big. Check the website, samsembroidery.com, or go visit that massive showroom down on San Pedro. It's 1 mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. All items come with a warranty, and you work with Sammy on your project. He's the owner, and he's by his phone right now. Call him 210-824-3900, 824-3900 for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
For $1,000 now, enter the winning keyword, SCARE. SCARE, SCARE at SASportsStar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Barbecue Outfitters over at 1604 at Chavano Park is your homegrown Central Texas owned grill, patio, and fireplace shop. And they are having their gas log and fall grilling kickoff sale that is starting today. Get over there. In fact, get over there tomorrow. Go hungry, by the way, because Barbecue Outfitters is having their fall demo day with a dozen different manufacturers demonstrating in the parking lot, which is a great chance for you to see those products in action and obviously taste some great food. And, of course, it's a big sale. They've got all their gas logs on sale, including Texas-made gas logs from Golden Blunt. They've got wood-burning fire pits on sale that are made right here in Texas. Big Green Eggs, Weber gas grills, Traeger pellet grills. All the grill brands are on sale with double in-store rebates and, more importantly, free assembly. And again, they've got demo days, the fall demo day happening tomorrow. Make sure you're over at Barbecue Outfitters tomorrow and go hungry. The food that those guys are cooking up is incredible. Go hungry. Right around 12, 1 o'clock, get over there. Go hungry. Saturday is the fall demo day there at Barbecue Outfitters. 1604 at Chavano Park next to the Ridge Shopping Center. check out their website, bbqoutfitters.com.
If you and your spouse went from I do to I don't, it may be time to walk down a new aisle. Call divorcedude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Polling Law PLLC. Divorcedude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. Divorcedude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? Divorcedude.com.
Did you know that United Healthcare helps connect you to doctors and therapists with 24/7 access to virtual care?
So I could have therapy from my couch?
Yep.
Or a doctor appointment from my car?
If you wanted to.
Wait, you're right. I don't even like when people see me sing in the car. Couch appointment it is.
Virtual visits are just one of the ways United Healthcare helps connect you to better health. Learn more at uhc.com. Plan benefits may vary.
We're back and better than ever. A new web interface for the start of the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline.net remains your #1 spot for all the basketball and football betting content this season. From basketball, football, baseball postseason, NHL, boxing, and right up to the upcoming UFC events. So don't wait to check out all the latest news, odds, and information for the 2021 season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to find all the info on your favorite sports. BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
Fever is the leading symptom of COVID and the flu, and the only way to reliably detect fever is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temporal Scanner, proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Be sure to seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Get your share of 20K 12 times a day. It's the Big Score. Listen each hour weekdays between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. for the winning word. When you hear it, enter it at sasportstar.com. You could win $1,000. Complete rules at sasportstar.com. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey Alexa, what's for lunch? San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. What a night in sports. Got high school football coming up in about an hour here on the Star. Reagan and Roosevelt. Kevin Brock and myself will have the call pregame at 6:30. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. And we'll keep you updated on scores from around the area at 210varsity.com. We'll keep you updated with what's going on in that Astros game as they look to close out the Boston Red Sox. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the Spurs game as they are playing in Denver. Then you got college football tomorrow, NFL football on Sunday, NFL football on Monday, Seahawks and Saints Monday night. We're going to be live with the Blitz out at 1911 Cigars on Monday. It's over there off Main Street in Selma, and it is a cool spot. They've got this backyard outdoor area that is phenomenal. They got bands back there, all kinds of stuff, and it's BYOB Place. So come hang out with us Monday night out at 1911 Cigars. You know, not surprisingly, we haven't heard from Jon Gruden since everything went down and he lost his job. Although apparently his phone still works and the dude answers it. I can't believe he answered his phone. But, you know, on last month's Real Sports on HBO, they did a feature on Mark Davis. And the producer of that segment for Real Sports, according to Andrea Kramer, called Jon Gruden. All right. He's not answering the phone for ESPN. You know, everybody over there has his phone number. He used to work there for a long time. He ain't answering the phone for NBC, Sports Illustrated, the Las Vegas Daily, whatever. I mean, nobody's been able to get a hold of him except for this lady named Maggie Burbank, who is the producer of the segment on Mark Davis. She actually called Gruden, and Jon Gruden picked up his phone. Didn't think he would, but I think even Maggie was probably surprised he picked up the phone. But according to Maggie Burbank from HBO's Real Sports, he said, quote, he's still in Las Vegas. He says he's letting the dust settle. Quote, people who know me know what I stand for 58 years. I have a resume of 58 years. The truth will come out. It's certainly cryptic. The hell does that mean? Truth will come out. Dude, you typed it in an email multiple times. I think the truth is out, man. You typed it. It was your email. It's not somebody accused you of something. He said, she said. You literally, in a variety of emails, typed out your resume of 58 years, I think we all know, in a variety of levels. And there's a whole lot of people that said, yeah, I'm not surprised he typed that. Can't believe he's talking, although, again, he answered the phone. And then you see some reports that he might sue. For what? You got a boatload of money. Just go away. You're rich. Go find an island somewhere. You know, I mean, I've seen you in your commercials. Just let that Corona hotline ring. Don't answer it. Just go enjoy, man. But the truth is already out, man. It was in your emails. It's very hard to defend that. You know, you can't say you were hacked. Wasn't a one-off. There are multiple emails there. Now, Dan Snyder, it's coming for him, too. It's interesting because there's an article that ESPN is apparently about to drop on Sarver, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, that by all accounts, I mean, you know, the NBA doesn't mess around with this kind of stuff. He could end up losing his franchise. We've seen Jerry Richards lose his franchise in the NFL. I can't believe Dan Snyder's still in charge, but you know it's only a matter of time before he loses the Washington football team. Some interesting developments for sure to come over the next several weeks as these stories continue to play out. Let's talk some Spurs and Nuggets. Jeff Garcia from Spurs Zone will join us next here on the Blitz. But it's Friday. You know you're going to fire up the grill this weekend. You know you need to get into Tri-County Meat Market. I know I was in there yesterday, got a brisket, 2 racks of ribs that I'm going to throw on the Traeger. The brisket's going on tonight when I get home from this football game. You're going to fire up that grill, get into Tri-County Meat Market because you know you want locally owned, full-service, sourced meats from here. And that's what you get at Tri-County. Carefully selected, certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, upper choice. They have everything you need to up your grilling game. Beef, chicken, pork, fajitas, poppers. They've got their own homegrown Wagyu. Talk about farm to fork Wagyu. It doesn't get better than that. And even Dean and Peeler, they've teamed up with Dean and Peeler Premium Meats out of Floresville for more locally sourced meats. And always, especially if you're having a big party or a tailgate, you want to stock up on that Pick 5 for $25. You always get a 10% discount if you're military or a first responder. Tri-County Meat Market has 2 locations, one on Ralph Fair Road, the other on Hebner. Go to their website, tricountymeat.com.
Do you have what it takes to rock the mic?
Hey, this is RJ Ochoa.
Hi, this is Carolina Teague.
Hey, San Antonio, it's Thomas Mott.
Slacker Sports Bar presents Rock the Mic. Now is the time to submit your 1-minute or less sports take video clip at sasportstar.com. From there, we narrow down to the top 12 finalists with 4 rounds of live in-person auditions. Who will be the 2021 Rock the Mic champ? It could be you. Rock the Mic, presented by Slacker Sports Bar and in part by Jim Beam.
Like a lot of women these days, Mackenzie Tudor knew exactly what she wanted in an engagement ring.
I'm a big fan of Pinterest. I've been studying this for years.
She wanted a pear-shaped diamond in a certain designer setting, but became frustrated quickly when most jewelers just didn't have it.
You can go in a lot of diamond stores and they don't have the pear shape. They may have one option. They may have 2 if you're lucky.
Then she and her boyfriend Tim found Diamonds Direct, with one of the largest selections of loose diamonds in America in stock every day.
Diamonds Direct had more than dozens of the exact size and shape of diamond that I was looking for.
And because Diamonds Direct carries all the top bridal designer lines, names like Verragio and Simon G, finding the ideal setting was just as easy.
The styles at Diamonds Direct, they go right along with Pinterest. They are exactly what every girl's looking for.
Diamonds Direct, the exact diamond you want, the designer ring you've been dreaming of. No compromise necessary.
I can't say enough about how many compliments I get on my ring from Diamonds Direct every day.
Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys at the shops at La Cantera.
The Halloween parties at the Rue Pub have become legendary. Plan now. The biggest Halloween party in San Antonio will be Saturday, October 30th. Get your costume ready. The Rue Pub closes off part of the parking lot and will have DJs outside and inside the Rue and Angry Elephant and a $1,000 costume contest. The Rue Pub at 281 and Redland Road. Plan now for the 8th annual Rue Pub Halloween block party on Saturday, October 30th. We'll see you at the Rue and wear a costume.
One team, one mission. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
Is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix at Comalander Stadium. We've got football tonight. Reagan and Roosevelt in a big district showdown. Should be a lot of fun. Spurs they play tonight too. They got the Denver Nuggets. Let's do some game night San Antonio. Jeff Garcia joining us now, even on video as well. So if you're watching on Facebook, on our YouTube channel at sasportstar.com, you can do that. And he's the Ken's 5 Digital Spurs reporter and host of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Jeff, I haven't talked to you in a while, man. I'm curious. I'm trying not to get overly excited about what I saw against Orlando. They were clearly the better team on the floor there. They blew them out. Tonight, I expect it to be completely different.
Both. Yeah. I mean, look, they beat a team they should beat, and minus Magic players were not even in uniform. So they handled business, but now it becomes a murderer's row. I mean, it starts tonight versus Denver. We know what they got ahead of them after tonight. It's not going to be pretty, but hey, they played hard in that first game versus Orlando. They were scrappy. They played some defense. They're going to lean on that defense, as Doug McDermott said ahead of the game, to generate some offense. And all you can do is just hope for the best tonight, Jason, that they just play their best. And hopefully they take away some lessons learned if they do end up getting trounced tonight.
Well, and again, I mean, I look at what Denver did against Phoenix in the opener, and I didn't expect that. I thought Phoenix was going to come out at home and play a hell of a game. And it was a good game, but I mean, Denver just looked that good. And you look at the size that Denver offers, not just with the Joker, but all over the floor. Mm-hmm. How does that affect Spurs rotations tonight? Does Thad Young actually get to play?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to throw him out there. I mean, it's going to be all hands on deck, or in this case, all big men on deck. Joker can, it's not just simply a guy who can plot in the middle. I mean, he can stretch that floor. He can go away from that rim. Jakob's going to have a hell of a time tonight. Drew Eubanks, he's about to get a nice lesson in playing in the post from Joker tonight. So that's actually one department of the Spurs that I've been looking at, or looking to see how this plays out this upcoming season, is the big man depth, because after Pirtle, there's kind of a drop there. No knock on Eubanks, scrappy kid, but it goes to Eubanks, Pirtle, and an unproven Jock Landale. So Joker's going to have some fun tonight. I mean, just his career averages. He averaged like 20 plus points and 43% shooting from deep against San Antonio. So it starts there. But hopefully the other guys can just rise to the occasion. Look, I mean, you just hope this young team just learns lessons. If they pull the win, it's just gravy this season. I mean, if they get a win against a Denver or a Laker or a Bucks, that's just gravy. But it begins tonight, Class is in session, Jason.
Well, and I look at it that way as we visit with Jeff Garcia. He hosts the Locked On Spurs podcast and is the Ken's 5 digital reporter. I look at this season, I think I said 33, 35 wins. It's going to be a long year. This isn't a playoff team. I just want to see incremental growth. But I saw so many people overreacting to a blowout win over Orlando. And all right, maybe they shouldn't have blown them out as much as they did, and that surprised them. But they look good in doing it. And it's interesting. Derek White had some comments after the game that I don't know that he meant as a dig at LaMarcus Aldridge or the offense that Pop was running when LA was here. But everything went through LA, and he said, now we're out having fun, and it's all this kind of, and it's true. They look that way. I don't think any of us had Devin Vassell as the leading scorer on our bingo cards heading into that game the other night.
Not at all. And that's what you like out of this team. It's every game you're going to see a player lead in that category. Devin, great. If it's DeJounte, perfect. Keldon, et cetera, et cetera. Derek White. I mean, look, the Spurs are going to have to learn how to win collectively on the offensive end. They don't have that go-to guy. There is no DeMar. There is no LMA anymore. They're gone. So the kids are going to have to just rally on the offensive end. The good news is, though, at least defensively, I think they'll be okay defensively this year. They got some players that can do some damage on that end of the court. Jakob, DeJounte, Derek. But as far as generating offense, I think they're going to have to really, really rely on each other on that side of the court. I was talking to Doug McDermott ahead of the Denver game, and he said that the one thing they're focusing on since that Orlando game is just more emphasis on the defensive end to generate their offense. So that tells you exactly where the mindset is as far as how they're going to get points on the board, and it begins with the defensive end.
Well, again, transition, and it makes sense. And I got to say, I wasn't initially sure how McDermott was going to fit in with this group. Now, it's a one-game sample. I didn't see any of the preseason games because I couldn't get my app to work and show me the video. I just saw spinny stuff and
you and me both.
Whatever. But I really like the way McDermott fit in and flowed with everybody. I mean, it's almost like, the veteran guy, we know his dad's a coach and he's got that coach's type mentality. The reality is I wasn't sure when he signed, but I am liking that signing after a one-game sample size.
Right. Yeah. And what I like about him, he can fit into any unit, whether it be the starting unit, be there with the bench guys. He just fits in so well. He provides some sort of veteran stability on that court. I mean, look at that one-game sample size we saw. I mean, when some of the fouls maybe didn't go the Spurs' way, he was kind of vocal with the refs, really talking to them, really questioning their calls. You didn't really see that a lot out of the young guys. So I like that aspect that he brings. But, hey, he always wanted to be a Spur, according to him. He said he's always admired San Antonio. So, hey, he's got the silver and black jersey now. We'll see how he fits in as the season moves on.
We'll see. And again, I expected just him as a three-pointer. I didn't realize he could slash the way he did and cut to the basket. I didn't know that was a part of his game. I can't say that, I've watched a lot of McBuckets play, and I expect a lot of buckets. It's in his name. I think it's in his contract, too. Go score, damn it.
Yeah, he's a slashing. I never thought I'd say this, a slashing McDermott. And we'll see. He continues to be that slasher. And look, I feel like it's all hands on deck on the offensive end. If McBuckets is going to be slashing to the basket, great, we'll take it. If Pirtle gives you something more than just cleanup work, some sort of midi hook shot, we'll take it. But this is going to be a good stretch of games. Brent Forbes said before they left to Denver that he's welcoming this murderous row of teams they got to face. Throw right into the fire. And I think, if they come out battered and bruised this early in the season, I'm kind of for that because, hey, early lessons learned, maybe they can carry that throughout the season.
And you look at it as we visit with Jeff Garcia, host of Locked On Spurs podcast and the Kens 5 Digital Spurs reporter.
We might as well call it the San Antonio Sports Podcast as well because so many guys are on there.
Yeah, you've had everybody on there but me, but that's another story. I don't think Rob's ever done it either. Pledge.
His son has been Jack's been on there. So
Jack's been on there. Jimenez has been on there. Quinn Hudson. Maria, who works in the office doing all the cleaning stuff. Everybody's been on there but me and Rob. But that's beside the point. I mean, you're right though. I mean, but you look at it. I look at some players that like Devin Vassell, leading scorer, but I liked what he was doing on the defensive end. Is this his breakout season type? Now that all those veteran guys are gone, nobody's taking minutes. Get out there and make mistakes. I'm looking for Devin Vassell and Lonnie Walker in a prove-it type of situation since they didn't pick up his extension. Yeah. Start with Devin Vassell. Give me your thoughts on Devin, then we'll talk about Lonnie.
I'm excited to see what the kid has to show this season. Beginning in the summer league, they put him as a focal point of that squad, and I think they did well for him confidence-wise. Seeing how the team would trust him to be that go-to guy, at least for a summer league squad. Then you fast forward to the preseason, and then you fast forward to the one-game sample, and everybody should be liking the trajectory where Vassell's going. He wants to be the best two-way player for this team, and he openly admitted that, and I believe he can do it. He has the length, he has the size, he added muscle, he's stronger, he's aggressive to the rim, he plays smart. He just plays so smart. Rarely do you see him make some sort of major mistake on that court. I think he could be that X factor for San Antonio this season. I know many people think that it maybe could be Lonnie, and rightfully so. I get that, but I actually think Devin can really, really emerge off that bench and be that go-to guy for the team as the season goes on.
Well, and I look at Devin and Keldon kind of as the future. And Lonnie, we just have to figure out where he belongs. He looked great opening night. I was surprised they gave Lonnie the microphone. They didn't give him an extension, but you got the microphone, welcome the crowd in, which is, we've seen a variety of Spurs do over time. He played great in the opener, But one of the problems with Lonnie throughout his career is the consistency. Can he do it the next game and the game after that and the game after that? What do you expect to see out of Lonnie Walker tonight?
I don't know. We're going to have a one-game sample. I mean, we'll find out if he can continue playing well tonight versus Denver. But from last season to this season, he says it himself. I've asked him on those Zoom conferences last year, Jason, what do you got to work on? Consistency. And we've seen it. Now, there's a sign of life that maybe he can't do that. Recall last season when DeMar DeRozan was out for personal reasons, he had back-to-back 20-point outings, and then he followed it up with another double-digit score. He can do it. It's just a matter of him doing it now and putting it to paper and putting it on that court. No more DeMar, no more LMA. Now's your time to shine, Lonnie. You got some bucks that you could probably earn at the end of this season, so go out there and do it.
Well, he's playing for a contract, whether it's here or it's somebody else. But financially for his family, he needs to get consistency this year so he can go and get paid. As Jeff Garcia joins us here on the Blitz game night, San Antonio Spurs and Nuggets tonight. The other day before the opener, Sean Elliott was on the Blitz, and I asked him who he thought had to be the most improved player for the Spurs and whether it would be Keldon Johnson or DeJounte Murray. And he talked about Derek White, especially Derek White has to stay healthy and improve because he only played in 30-some-odd games last year. Who in your mind has to be the guy that takes the next step and be the leader of this group?
Wow. I would definitely say Derek is on that short list, but I'll also throw in DeJounte. If we're going to go by, seasoning and who's been there the longest among the young core, it's DeJounte. He's been eager to take that leadership role since last season. He says that even when LMA and DeMar were there, he was in their ear, but now they're not there. Now he can really get on the players, get on the guys. There were times during the preseason when everybody's favorite former Spur, Luka Doncic, wasn't playing that great in the preseason. And you saw him on the bench just getting on him, getting really, really grilling him and, trying to be that vocal leader. You see it on the court. He's directing traffic. He's getting on these guys. And I would like to see him take his development in that direction. As far as stats are concerned, how much better can he get? His outside shooting still is questionable. We'll see how that progresses throughout the season. But if he's a 16, 18 point a night, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, we had 4 steals in the last game, I'll take it. But if he can definitely vault himself into that leadership role, I think that'd be great for this young team. A lot of the young guys really lean on him as the big brother of the squad. And even a guy like Derek White, they're comparable in age, but he still says, hey, I look to him as the veteran on this team. So
it's crazy to think he's the veteran guy. He's been in the room the longest and young enough to still be on his mom's insurance. Yet, he's the old guy in the room. That's the crazy part of this young Spurs team. And again, I'm not worried about who the leading scorer is every night because I do think it's going to be different every night. And nobody's going to get more than 35 minutes a night. And I like the way Pop spaced everything out in game one, and I think we'll see a lot of that. I think the thing that impressed me most, and Pledge and I were talking about this after the game, it was like, man, they're jacking up threes up 20. They didn't need to do that. And I'm like, yes, they do, because that's the way this offense is going to be. I don't care what the score is, hit the threes. And what were they at, 43%? If they can continue that throughout the season at the volume they were taking against Orlando, they're finally getting into the direction that Pop's been trying to point them in for the last couple of years.
Yeah. Remember last season, Jason, where Popovich begged DeJounte Murray to take a three? He said, just take them. Your family's still going to love you. You're still going to get paid. I mean, that's how desperate they were for threes. And you fast forward to this season, at least in one game, they were throwing them up, and hopefully they continue to go down. So that's just huge. And that's where a guy like McDermott is going to come in handy. Forbes is going to come in handy. You hope that Derek White's shot from beyond the arc is falling. Keldon, he says that he worked on that long game. We'll see if it's paying out, but overall, you like what you see out of the Spurs very early in the season. I still think it's just too early to really get a pulse on what this team is made of. We'll definitely find out the next 6-7 games. We'll find out whether if they get destroyed and their confidence is shaken, or if they're competitive. I don't care. I just want to see them get better each and every game. And hopefully they get some sort of confidence going, and maybe take that into next season.
I look at Denver tonight, Milwaukee tomorrow.
Yeah.
Man, those were some impressive rings the Bucks got. And then you saw what the Tampa Bay Lightning got. I feel bad for those 99 Spurs and their championship rings, man. It just ain't the same. The ring game is out of control. But then you got what the Lakers on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I saw a lot of people overreacting for the good with that win over Orlando this weekend. It's not time to get to the ledge yet either. Remember, Vegas calls this an under 30 win basketball team. You're not supposed to beat Denver, Milwaukee, or the Lakers. I just want them to be competitive.
Yeah. I was in Vegas when Vegas released the odds, and I sent a picture to Pledger. I said, "Do I do it? Do I bet the over? I bet the over. I bet the over." So
did you?
I think
all right, good.
I bet the over. Yeah, they're definitely going to get more than what is it? What 28? I think that was the latest, or 29.
Yeah, 28 and a half, I think. So 20. Yeah. I think they'll be 33, 35. That's a pretty good bet. I mean, last year, I think they were Vegas had them at 27, 28 in a 72-game season. Now you get 10 more games to get one more win. I'll take that this year from this Spurs team. I think partly because a lot of good teams are going to rest against the Spurs because they're going to be the easy W.
San Antonio's that team now, Jason? They
really are. They're that team.
Oh, wow. It's a long way from the dynasty, isn't it?
Reality sucks, doesn't it?
Woo-wee. The good news is, though, that I'm old enough to be around when there was a rebuild before David Robinson and old Hemisphere days. I remember. So I'm well ready for these. But these kids nowadays, that's all they know, which is winning basketball. So, hey, kids, this is what a rebuild looks like. Ta-da.
Exactly. Speed up the process. Going to be a fun one tonight. Jeff Garcia from Ken's 5, the Ken's 5 digital Spurs reporter, host of the Locked On Spurs podcast.
I'm penciling you in for Locked On.
Sure, I'm busy, but whatever. I appreciate it. No.
There you go. There it is, right there.
Just let me know. We'll get it taken care of. Appreciate it, Jeff. Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, the podcast that generally features James Pledger or Michael Jimenez, which is kind of how it works. Going to be an interesting night for the San Antonio Spurs. And again, I'm not going to overreact either way. And I'm guessing for a lot of you tonight, you're either going to be listening to the game. That's what we encourage you to do. Listen to the game, or you could watch the game on our Facebook Live at the SA Sports Star Facebook page. And then you're going to have the Astros and Red Sox on. Because let's face it, game 2 of an NBA season or game 6 of the LCS is more important. And then, you kind of root for the Dodgers as well. I want to see Dodgers, Astros in the World Series. But in reality, I think Atlanta's got their number. They're the better team. Atlanta is going to go to the World Series. But I want to see the Astros finish off the Red Sox tonight. Let the Dodgers get another win. Let the Astros rest up. Then the Braves can close out the Dodgers at home. And then we'll have the World Series with Atlanta and the Houston Astros. I think that'd be a pretty good plan. That's what I'm thinking. And then, of course, the football weekend is going to be an interesting one with no Longhorns and no Cowboys this weekend. And even the college football schedule this weekend, there's not that great matchup that you generally have. Game day is going to Pasadena because they're going to be there for Oregon and UCLA, which tells me, that group just wanted a weekend in Los Angeles. I mean, because when you look at the top 25 matchups, the schedule, I know you've got USC and Notre Dame. I'm not even sure how good that one's going to be. Ole Miss, LSU could be interesting, but outside of that, Ohio State, Indiana, not really. I mean, it's one of those weekends that you look at it and you go, in college football, I'm not so sure. Then, of course, when you're looking at the top 25 schedule, you see UTSA's game listed in there. I think this is going to be a tough game for UTSA on the field and in between the years. I mean, this week, all season we've heard about Jeff Traylor and Don't Eat the Cheese. They started that at 2-0. They started that at 3-0. 4-0. Don't eat the cheese. All the different stuff. Well, you got Jeff Traylor going on Jim Rome, all the national attention they're getting. They get ranked in the top 25, 24 in the AP poll, 25 in the coaches poll. Then the official announcement yesterday that they are moving up from Conference USA to the American Athletic Conference. Right now it's just, busy. Ruston, Louisiana, La Tech, that's a tough place to go play and historically has been for UTSA. Now, I know this UTSA team is not like any other UTSA team. And I think going on the road and beating Memphis, that win against Western Kentucky will certainly help. But the distractions this week have been massive for Jeff Traylor personally. I mean, his name is talked about in all kinds of different job possibilities and where he might end up coaching, and he's had to deal with that. You know, there was a lot of meetings that he had to be a part of with the moving from Conference USA to the American Athletic Conference. You're ranked in the top 25 for the first time in program history. If there was ever a game that you were worried about as a coach, it would be this one, because you're playing a tough opponent. This isn't Rice. And that Rice game was so easy. I mean, almost too easy. I mean, they held Rice to 100 yards. I mean, they gave up like 600 yards to Western Kentucky. They give up 100 yards to Rice. But this week, for the coach and for the players to focus and not look ahead to what's coming in the American and what's going to come with that. You're looking at the top 24, and I'm guilty of it. You know, pull up the ESPN schedule just to see number 24 next to UTSA's name at school. And based on social media, I know Coach Traylor will say don't eat the cheese, but those kids are doing it, and they should. But, you know, on that plane today, they wake up tomorrow in Ruston, they need to be dialed in. This is going to be a tough test for UTSA. And after the week they've had, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a letdown. Based on everything I've seen out of this group and the leadership of the players on that team and Jeff Traylor, they're not going to let a letdown happen. But if it did, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm still picking the UTSA. They're favored by 6. But at the same time, preparing yourself for it when it does happen, you're not going to be surprised that it does happen. And the best part about tomorrow's game, with that crap TV network that Conference USA has, this actually is going to be on television because they're doing it on Stadium, and the CW here locally picked it up. So you're actually going to be able to watch the game and easily find it. You know, that's one of the reasons I had to jump out of the Conference USA was just such a bad television deal that the conference signed, and UTSA can't control that. But this one gets to be on Stadium, which allows a local TV station to pick it up. And you're probably going to be angry when you hear some guy with a bad accent talking about all about La Tech and not knowing how to say UTSA, because that's how those things work. I mean, that's just the way it is. But at least you're going to be able to watch it as you're flipping around to other games. Hey, Monday, we're going to be live out at 1911 Cigars on Main Street in Selma. Come watch Monday Night Football with us. Rudy J is going to hang out with us. That's Monday. We've got high school football coming up next.
For $1,000 now, enter the winning keyword, sports.